What's up,
Cool.
brother?
What's up? Hey, thanks for coming in, Witsit. Do I call you Witsit? What do people call you? What?
Yeah, Austin or Witsit, it's whatever.
All right, cool.
'Cause my name's Austin Witsit, so
Oh, it's Austin
yeah.
Witsit. All right. Nice. Well, hey, Austin. Austin works. People online they call me Big Tech, so you just call me Big Tech. That's not
Cool,
actually my
cool.
real name.
I figured that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not my real name. Um, Let me start my camera for you so you can see me. Will I be able to get you on cam? Let me
Yeah, yeah,
see.
sure.
Turn on cam there.
Yeah, I'll turn mine on.
Let's see. Pop this out. All right, everybody, we're getting it together. There we go. Nice. All right. We're in. And what if I don't want to show the video? How do I do that?
You mean the little like watch stream box?
Show. No. No. Let me see. Show my share screen. Confirm. No.
I think you should be able
I'm
to
just trying to.
exit that screen. You mean like put us beside each other?
Yeah,
Yeah, you should be able to exit out of that
I should, right?
that big. Yeah, yeah. I've only done it a
Mm,
couple times, but yeah, I did it with Adam actually.
focus. I don't know how to do it yet. Let me see. Show participants. Show my share screen.
What are you?
There we
You're
go. Fixed
sharing?
it. I fixed it.
Okay, cool.
Got it. Okay. All right. Hey. All right. You're in. Great. All right. So everybody who doesn't know, I think everybody on my stream does know. We've seen some of your videos, Austin. We've watched quite a few of them, and we saw you the other day with Harrison on Infowars. That
Yeah,
was
yep.
cool. That was pretty fun.
Right.
But for the 5 people who don't know, Austin Witsit, this is Witsit Gets It from YouTube, and he is like you are a premier flat Earth advocate. Is that
Mhm.
right to say?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
All right, cool. And so we've been tracking his work. He's been coming up in debates, and he's really good at debating. Also, really good at flat smacking. They're getting smacked with the facts.
Right.
They're out there getting flat smacked, getting educated, getting schooled. He's schooling the globetards. You're
Yep.
really good at it. You're really good at it. Like you're like, um, you got it. You got an angle that you're coming from the people aren't ready for, and I always respect that. I know some people in their different fields, and they come from angles, and they come with the facts, and they got papers, and they know the experiments, and they know terminology, and they got sources, and they are just loaded for shotgun blasting. You're one of those guys, you know.
Yeah. Yep.
Some of them, there's the other guys. There's Dave Weiss, I'm familiar with. There's the other guy. Who's the one that does a lot of documentary videos? What's his name? I bet you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, but
Um,
there's just so many random people I wouldn't know.
there's the guy Owen Benjamin calls him Savanier. What is he? Who's that guy?
Oh, Eric Dubay.
Eric Dubay. Yeah. I don't know
Yeah.
why he calls him Savanier, but he's just
Yeah, I'm
like,
actually I'm fascinated with the art of debate itself. You
yeah.
feel me? But yeah, I think it's fascinating. I think debate is like so important, bro, for society. You feel me? But
I don't know. I don't know if I feel you on that. Actually, I got a thought
really,
on that. Um,
sure.
I think debate is so. I'm of the opinion of some things are good for debate when it's about opinions. When it's about opinion, like, and maybe even up into philosophy of ethics and things like that. So when there's two different points of view on something that we agree on, so we agree on this, but what we disagree on is what to do about it. Then we need to hear a debate, and that's cool.
Mhm.
Or there's like two schools of thought about a subject that's agreed upon, and let's hear these two schools of thought and here fight it out. But a debate between two people who just like don't even agree on the facts,
Right,
then
right, right.
I don't know how fruitful that debate is. Then it's usually just like I'm calling you stupid and you're calling me stupid, and it's just
Yeah, I
sort
hear
of
you.
like a fight.
Yeah, I get you. I mean, I just mean in general, like the whole world of censoring people is super lame and gay. It like we have to be able to talk, is what I mean. So debating ideas. I mean, I will say that flat Earth sounds crazy and everything, but if it's true, it's probably pretty wild, right? It's pretty epic. So
Yeah.
I guess all I was really trying to say is I am pretty good at debating because I'm kind of fascinated by it, and it's like intellectual chess, and you set the person up if you want to get your point made, and it's just really fascinating. I
Yeah.
think it's important. Flat Earth is the worst thing I could have chosen, right? Because just like you said, people get so emotional, and it's like this really basic foundational thing we're disagreeing on. There's no middle ground.
Yeah.
You're automatically written off, etc. But yeah, I just covered it because I cover it because I think that we don't live where they told us. I think it's pretty significant. It's terrible career choice, we'll say.
Yeah, I think I could see both sides of that. I want to address something in chat real quick. They said, "Big Tech, you're looking old." All right. I am old. I'm 41. How old are you, by the way? I'm old.
Oh, 32. Just turned 32.
All right. Well, see, I look 10 years older than this guy because I am.
Just because you have a little bit of gray, you wouldn't even know.
I think I do. I would like to see this thing turn all white. That'd be cool.
That would be lit.
But I also have like I get like those little crow's feet or whatever. I get those little wrinkly cracks are starting to form around here. My skin is getting older. I am old.
I don't think you're old, bro.
But I'm looking forward to being old. I'm ready to be old. I'm enjoying being old. I'm a grandfather age. If I had kids when I was 20, my kids would now be 20 and they'd be having kids. I'd be a grandfather. So yeah, I'm old. Deal with it.
Do you have any kids?
I got 2. Yeah. My oldest is 13.
Very cool.
What about you?
You might make any more or not? Yeah, I just made my first one, right? So she's 15 months, 16 months, and then my wife is like 30 weeks pregnant right now. So
okay. Yeah. Little babies.
Pop them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, trying to pop them out.
Nice.
I think it's important. I think you know why. I'd be preaching to the choir if I tell you why.
I'll say something on that for everybody who's listening. I think this is important too. A lot of people talk about how you want to have sons, and I understand the reason for that. It's traditional and everything, and every guy wants to have his boy, and there's reasons. But if you really want to increase the population, you need to have daughters. Because if you think about it, in order to have babies, you have to have mommies. It only takes one guy. One guy can impregnate hundreds of women. But one woman can't have hundreds of babies.
And they can do it forever.
They can do it forever. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like you got a desert island with 5 people on it, and if 4 of them are men, you can only have 1 baby a year, basically. But if 4 of them are female, you can have 4 babies a year.
That's
so
true, yeah.
If you want to increase the population, we need girls. Everybody needs to have daughters. If you want to fight wars, if you want to have stuff like that, then you need a bunch of sons, right? Because you need soldiers. But if you want to increase the population, you need daughters. So everybody needs to have girls.
Obviously, just as a guy, you want a son, right?
Yeah, because you want to throw the ball around. You want your bro, and you want to have your boy. He's like me. Yeah, true.
Yeah, but my first 2 are girls, and I'm not just gonna keep going until I get a son. But you're right about the logistics.
Yeah,
right. I could technically impregnate 1,000 women until I'm 80.
Yeah, exactly. But a woman can't have 1,000. She can't bear 1,000 children. Like it's impossible.
Especially now, they're taking birth control like at 12, and they're not fertile very long at all. It's rough out here.
Okay, so back to what you said a second ago. It is really significant. If you're right about the globe conspiracy, then that's huge, and it's really important. Other side of that coin.
I'm glad you're real about that.
Yeah, that's huge. It's like, what's bigger than that? If you're right.
I agree, yeah.
If you're wrong and you're convincing people that the Earth's flat when it's not, I think you're doing damage.
Fair enough.
Because it's important.
Right. Well, it is. But here's the thing, right? So there's 2 primary parts of it. There's like if the Earth is moving and if the Earth is flat. And they get bundled up, right? but they're separate. Like technically the Earth could be a globe and just be sitting there or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
If the Earth's not moving, that is huge. And you can prove it's not moving for sure. And if you go talk to, and this isn't even like conspiracy.
I'm going to stop you right there. For me, I got to stop you when you make statements like that. I can't let it slide. I don't like it. I think that it's like when you say you can prove it.
Yeah.
It's like, what? Like
you can prove it,
dude. No, you can't, Doug. No,
you can. I promise, brother. You can prove it.
What you can actually do is not prove that it's moving. That doesn't prove that it's not moving.
Well, if it's moving, you can measure things that move. Like when I'm in a car, I can measure it. You can measure things that move, and
how do
we
you
use
measure it? You measure it against against other things.
yeah. So like, well,
Movement is
yeah,
relative.
of course, yes, and
So
that came from someone long before Einstein. Of course, it's true, right? Like if I see a car move, it's like technically,
yeah,
like say your foot slips off your brake
yeah,
when you're in traffic, and you're like, wait, is this car coming towards me? Like, no, you're moving towards. You can't really tell. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Either one could be moving. Yeah, of course. What I'm saying though is that we don't have to worry about what we can tell is moving. We have instruments that measure movement, and it's called interferometry. Right? It's light, and it's crazy precise, and it
Right.
doesn't measure the Earth moving. So you
But
could
all of your
say,
experiments are terrestrial, and we have a problem right there.
sure. Now
Yeah.
here's where it gets interesting though. So yeah, that's right. When it comes to us moving around the sun, it's like, okay, they thought they'd be able to measure it with interferometry, they didn't. Then Einstein comes in, and then we change all of physics. And Einstein is, I mean, we're completely uncensored here, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
mean,
I mean,
don't say racial slurs. It'll get me in trouble. But other than that, we can say
oh,
what's
okay.
wrong.
But I'm just saying, like he just pushed Jewish mysticism. That's why he was basically banished, and that's what they referred to it as. Tons of scientists. Anyway, the point is that it's insane.
Who did that?
What he
Einstein?
does.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
Einstein was a front man. It's a whole thing. I mean, the dude was a psycho. He's incestuous, pedophile, crazy, called other ethnicities, crazy things, right? So he's a pretty crazy person. Doesn't mean he's wrong about his idea, but my point is that was they came in with an answer for why we didn't detect us moving around the sun. So you're right in that sense, right? It's like, oh well, it's relative. Although fundamentally, it's like, well, we experience the Earth doesn't move. So if you're going to claim it's moving, you have to give evidence for that. You have to actually verify that. But the part that disproves it is we use interferometry to supposedly detect the Earth rotating, right? And it's called like a ring laser gyro. And so they claim you can detect the Earth's motion on the Earth when it comes to the rotation, not the orbit. And we won't get into all the technical scientific. It's like free falling through a geodesic path, blah 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 blah. Point is, on the Earth, you can detect it moving. Okay, fair enough. We do detect rotation on the Earth.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's like 15 degrees per hour. That's how fast the sky spins around. And they're saying, well, it looks like the sky's spinning because we're spinning, right? This is the part that you will never hear. Is when they kept doing these tests, they went higher up at different altitudes, and the rate of rotation changed, meaning the measurement of motion changed. The closer you get to the sky, the more you detect the motion. On a globe, that can't happen, right? Whatever latitude you're on the globe, it has to stay the same. Doesn't matter how high you go.
Right.
Then they kept doing tests, and they showed that what you measure changes based on where the sun and the moon are, right? Like their periodicities, like where they are in their cycles. And that also can't happen if it's the Earth that's spinning, causing that measurement. And I have talked to many PhD physicists, bro. They all throw their hands up and say, there is no, yeah, you're right. There is no explanation. Maybe those tests are wrong. That's all they can say. So that's what I mean when I say we disproved it. And that
big
should
if true,
known.
big if true, very big if true. I'd like you to follow up, and send me some info on those. Is it the pendulum test or something where they're doing it at higher elevations?
It's interferometry, so it's ring laser gyros.
Oh, okay.
People will say now the pendulum test is interesting too. They proved that the pendulum changes during eclipses and during, again, where the sun and moon are, which is also not supposed to happen. But this is my point, though, bro. We agree that let's take flat Earth out. Like people hear the word flat Earth and they get so triggered. Like I don't. When people ask for my bios now, when I go on these shows, I'm like ether cosmologist or so, like because you know what I'm saying, flat Earth, just people's brains shut off, and all of a sudden they can make fun of you. And it's like, let's be real. I mean, I know way more about this than you. Like pump the brakes, right? But let's just stick with the moving part. You agree that would be huge, right? Like if the Earth wasn't moving, that would mean it's in the center of the whole universe.
Right.
That would be crazy.
So let's
like that right there.
That would be crazy. That would be crazy. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I want to know. So I saw you on Twitter. You said I think it's. I don't know if it's all of your tweets start this way, but it's like something like, it's pretty funny when they, and then fill in the blank, and you say something like, they say that we don't have a model. But when we actually have a more accurate model than they do.
Yeah, that was one tweet, but yeah.
Okay, maybe I just keep seeing that one passed around.
But yeah, where I showed the ferrocell and stuff, I showed the torus field.
I want to check you on that. Do you actually have a model of like a complete? And I heard your answer to Harrison. You're like, yeah, it's a torus field. Mm-hmm. That I think is not a model. I think that's like a hypothesis of maybe an explanation of the nature of the plane that you think that we're on. But that's not a model for, that's not a complete, that's certainly not complete. I mean, the model would include like, I need you to be able to answer, what is the moon? Like, what do you think that it is? What do you think that the moon is?
I think it's plasma. I think it could, but like this is what I'm saying, bro. It could be a solid sphere. Like it doesn't matter. It looks.
I don't think it doesn't matter is a good answer when we're talking about something that's very, very important. Where we just said.
No, I'm saying. But this is what I'm saying.
I think it really fucking matters.
What the moon is doesn't matter in terms of if the Earth is flat or not. Like that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I tried to say that in that debate. I tried to say at the very beginning. I wore kid gloves in that. It wasn't a debate. But I like Harrison, so I wasn't about to like try to slice him up in front of everybody. Right. I let people say I took L's. I did it. I went like watch my other debates. But what I was trying to explain to him is obviously when you hear someone say that the Earth is flat, immediately you're just like, okay, well then what is the moon? What are eclipses? How far away is it? And like I get it. That's what I did, bro. But that's actually not the way you're supposed to go about it logically, right? It's like, well, there's a claim on the table of where we live. Let's see if it's true. And so there's two groups of people. There's like a group of people that just want to like find a way to debunk flat Earth by saying, how does this work? And then there's these hundreds of millions of people now that have just tried to go prove the globe and they disprove.
What the hell do you mean? That's not the way you're supposed to do it. If it's like, if you're proposing an alternate hypothesis, well, then how does yours explain this? And if it doesn't, then it's not a good hypothesis.
Okay, well, let's talk about models, like so we are on the same page, right? People say this a lot. They're like, "What? Flat Earth doesn't even have a model. What's your model?" And usually, what they're saying is, "Do you have a map?" Now, you're saying you brought up the moon, for example, right?
Yeah.
But this is the meta here is like models. There is no such thing as an Earth model, and so I'm like, okay, send me the official globe Earth model. It doesn't, no such thing exists. We don't make models of the whole Earth, right? We model individual things. So like with the moon, we have a tidal theory. So we have a tidal model, right? That is tidally locked to the Earth and the globe, right? For the core, we have a geodynamo model, right? For the magnetic field, it's called a geomagnetic model. So you model different phenomena. There is no website from the government someone can send me that's the official globe Earth model. Okay, so
it's called the model of the solar system.
That it would be the model of the solar system, right?
Right, which has a globe, that the Earth is a globe in the solar system. That's the model of the solar system. And you're challenging it.
Yeah.
You're challenging that model.
I am.
And what's your replacement? What do you substitute that model with? You say that
the
there's
Earth
this
in the center.
All right, and then what's the moon in that model that's substituting the solar system?
We could just say that, well, like that's what I'm trying to say. I can't go to the moon, bro. So
you don't have a substitute for the solar system that includes an explanation of the moon.
I could make up things, right? So I could say, well, no, the moon is a rock, and actually it's closer but a little smaller. I could mathematically do all of it, and I thought about doing it more than once to show that you can do it. This is the problem. Immediately, people are going to like hold me to that claim and be like, "Oh, well, prove it's this far away," and blah blah blah, and like. That's stupid.
Because do you think there are craters on the moon?
It looks like there are craters, yeah.
Do you think that there are?
I don't think that the moon is a rock that has physical like terrain. So
it definitely looks like there are. So do you think that the moon was created by God to look like a sphere with craters and he's tricking us?
I don't think anyone thought that it was a rock with craters until people started claiming it somewhat recently. Like if you look at scientists back in the day, we think it looks just like craters. That's what it is. It's a rock because that's what we were told our whole life. That's what.
But you said it looks like there's craters.
Sure, like
so that is what it looks like.
Sure, but I can send you some stuff, right? Of basically bubbles that are created in plasma that create that exact same phenomena, exactly the same. Looks just like craters. So technically there are craters even in the plasma because it's just a little bubble that implodes and it creates a little indentation. So that's what I'm saying. Like it doesn't mean it's a rock people can walk on, right? I can show you scientists saying it was plasma in the 50s.
What
So
causes the full moon versus new moon and waxing away? What causes the light phenomenon on the moon? What is moonlight?
I think it is its own light, and that it's in an electrical system, and it's basically like it does have a relationship with the sun. I think it's like charging up. I mean, there are many theories, right? You have the anode, the cathode, the anode, cathode.
So you
But
think
this
the
is what,
moon is a plasma that's shining light
yeah,
in
I
the
think it's its
direction
own
of the
light source.
sun?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Actually, it doesn't always do that. And so like they'll call it anomalies, and then it disappears for 12 hours to 3 days, right? And they say, oh, it's just dark. It's the dark side. We're like, okay, can we not use some type of like different type of camera to see it? Why can't I can see stuff in the dark? I can use night vision. Why can't we see the moon? The moon isn't there, but like they say, it's just dark. But this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. So check this out. If I say, okay, the moon is what they said it is, the sun is what they said it is, whatever, the Earth is can still be in the center with every other part of the model. Now, I don't believe any of it. I don't. I don't believe that the sun just looks like it's the same size as the moon and all this stupid. Like, I don't believe any of it because I've like thoroughly read all their stuff. But what I'm saying is, no one knows that. No one in the world knows that if the moon is exactly what they said it is, if the sun is exactly what they said it is, and the planets are exactly what they say they are, like the Earth can still be in the center of the whole universe, and that's actually what the evidence says.
Dude,
So that means we've been
fuck all that, dude.
lied
I'm
to.
in the center of the universe. The Earth is going around me. The sun and the stars are going around me. You're going around me. When I do a push-up, the Earth moves away from me. I'm at the center and I don't move. Prove me wrong. When I jump, the Earth goes away from me. I stay still.
See, that's like, but we know that you are moving.
How do you know that?
Because we can actually measure you moving
in relation to other things that are all moving around me. I'm stationary and still. Other things are moving, not me.
This is why this lie is so important. It's Jewish mysticism. It like warps the mind. Basically, what it tells you is like you can't know anything for sure. And that's ridiculous because in all physics, we use the Earth as what's called the lab frame. So in reality, we treat the Earth like it's stationary and we measure against it. Or we wouldn't have planes, we wouldn't have buildings, we wouldn't have bridges, we wouldn't have any technology if we didn't use the world like we actually experience it. But then this grabbler comes along and tells us, oh, well, actually,
that's what you're doing, Witsit, dude. I'm looking at the moon and I'm seeing light reflect off of it and hit my eye. I see craters that have shadows in them that they wouldn't have if the moon was creating its own light. It wouldn't have shadows in the craters if the moon is fucking glowing.
No, I'm telling you, I can show you that replicated with plasma. But here, I'll just prove it's what they said it is. Okay, so like for example, in an eclipse, if you take a sphere and you move it in front of another sphere and it casts a shadow on it, you don't get a circle shadow. When it casts on the shadow, because the surface is curving, it distorts and becomes like an oval and then goes back to a circle. So when we see the eclipses, it's not like that at all. We don't see that at all. And also, whenever you take a light source and you shine it on a sphere, you get what's called a hot spot because it's a sphere, so one part of it is closer to the light than the rest of it, so it gives you a little hot spot on the sphere.
Mm-hmm.
We don't see that on the moon. We see evenly distributed light. So it can't be a solid rock sphere reflecting sunlight, and no one can even demonstrate that ever. No one can show me a sphere reflecting light without a hot spot. No one can show me anything that they're claiming. No one can show me a sphere move in front of another sphere, make a shadow, and just stay a circle. So I'm supposed to just ignore that, pretend somehow it's still true.
I don't know what you're talking about, dude.
If I take a ball and another ball, right? Yeah. And I'm going to move the sphere in front of the other sphere and block out the light, right? We're going to shine a flashlight. Okay. Like an eclipse. What they say the eclipse is, right? Like the sun, moon, and earth all lined up. Okay. So when I take the sphere and move it over the face of this other sphere, right? You don't get just a circle shadow. As it moves across it, it actually becomes an oval. It comes stretched out. It's like it's partial sine wave, right? It stretches out like an oval. And then as it keeps going, it'll become a sphere again. So you can't, it's physically impossible. It's geometrically impossible to move one sphere in front of another one and make the shadow be a circle. But only a circle as it moves across the whole thing. You can have it, there's a small period of time it will be a circle. In the eclipses, the whole time we see it, there is a circle that seemingly goes in front of, like, say, the sun, right? That's geometrically impossible. But this is what I'm
But
saying.
what
We
you're
can
not,
ignore that
what you're
unless I
seeing,
can replace it. That doesn't make any sense, though.
what you're just, I mean, again, big if true, it's impossible for the moon, which is circular, to make a circular shadow. It would make this other sine wave thing, according to me. Okay,
No,
big if
according to
true.
demonstration, like I'm saying, we have videos. I can send you stuff
There's
for everything I'm
videos.
saying, right?
Yeah, you're gonna have to send me
But
stuff. But I mean, like,
yeah,
dude,
but
if you're telling me that if the sun is a big old fucking ball, a circular spherical ball of plasma, and then the moon, which is a sphere, a circle of rock, a circle moves in front of another circle, and if I see the corona of the sun, and it's a circle, that's impossible. It wouldn't be a circle. It'd be something else.
yeah, if the sphere moves in front of the other sphere, it will not just be a circle the whole time. So what I'm saying is
It'll
we can
be an
go
ellipse.
It'll be a circle for a second and then turn into an oval that's stretched out. It's because the surface is curving, right? So the shadow gets stretched out on that curved surface. And then when it comes more in front of it, it'll be a circle for a second. And what I'm saying is I can go into my room right now and I can do the test and show you that the shadow's not a circle. If you're going to tell me that that can happen, you should be able to just easily go buy a couple spheres from Walmart or whatever and just show me you can do it. You can't. We've been asking for years. I've tried it. It's impossible. It is geometrically impossible, right? And that's important. It's just like during one of the eclipses, in the lunar eclipse. Have you ever heard there's something called the Selenilian eclipse? That's a lunar eclipse. Okay. So, and this, what's always interesting is we've never been told about any of this. And all flat earth does is, at the least, even if it was wrong, it makes people actually know what they're like, learn things that they're just completely like people are retarded, frankly.
Good thing we're finding out about the Selenarian eclipse and the elliptical circles. Let's go. Now we're getting valuable
I get it. It's
knowledge.
kind of nerdy. I get flat earth is like nerdy, but
well, throw out the universe as long as we can learn about the Selenarian eclipse.
No. This debunks the globe. So
right.
So but they make up excuses for it, right? So there is a lunar eclipse. So what do they say? They say that the sun goes behind the earth and then the earth blocks the sunlight, casting a shadow onto the moon, right? And that's a lunar eclipse. There's a type of lunar eclipse called Selenilian eclipse. And during the eclipse, the sun and the moon are both above the earth. Okay. So how can the earth be blocking the light from the sun if it's up above the earth? It's geometrically impossible, right? In their model, all the spheres have to be lined up and the sun has to be below the earth to be blocking it. It's also called the impossible eclipse. And this is what like even NASA calls it. But I mean, of course, I operate in good faith. So I immediately tell you guys what your answer is. The answer is that it's just an illusion. And it looks like the sun is up above the earth, but actually it's below it. So if you Googled it, you'll see an image of where the sun and moon look like they're above the earth, but then they'll have little dotted lines down to below it and say, this is where they really are. They're just being refracted up in the sky to look like they're there. Or they're just in the sky. Okay. Like, you know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah, or we know where things are and it's like it's appearing one place, but we know it's actually there according to the cycle.
Now watch this. Keep that same energy though, because if I said that as a flat earther, everyone can immediately laugh and write it off. If I say, oh, well, that's not actually where the moon is. It's just in an apparent position. Oh, you're so crazy. You know, that's the point. There's this double standard. Dude, it's just
you're impossible.
People are brainwashed. No,
but like you want to do that, but then it's like you want to be like, well, no, maybe the sun's actually where it is. Well, it's like, well, then maybe that sphere I'm looking at is actually a sphere, and maybe that thing that looks like rocks is actually rocks. And
well, okay, check this.
Maybe that crater that just looks like craters on the Earth, maybe those are craters in rocks, just like in the Earth.
No, maybe. I wouldn't care if it was that. I don't think it is because
maybe that light that's on that side of it, because the sun's over there, maybe that's just sunlight reflecting off of it.
Maybe it's
and you're like, no, maybe it's plasma bubbles and it's glowing because of something, and it's like you want me to throw out what's on its face. One thing
more. It matches plasma more. There are lunar waves. The moon waves. But look, anyway, this is what I'm trying to say to you. Even if it was a sphere, it doesn't
lunar
mean
waves. The moon.
Sphere.
What are you talking about?
There's something called lunar waves, and there's like astrophotographers have shown that a wave goes across the face of the moon, like the entire moon waves, like a wave goes across its face. And by the way, there's no answer. What they claim is, oh, that just a plane must have gone by. It's like, or that dude recorded for 8 straight hours. There was no plane. He caught a lunar wave multiple times. But this is what I want you to think about. But say it's a sphere, bro. I agree. It kind of looks like a sphere. I can show you 100 demonstrations where a flat piece of paper
I know what
can
you're
look like
saying, and I don't accept that. I don't accept it. I think that's fucking bullshit. And I think what you're doing right now is like a thing that should be like cast out. It's like a sophistry. It's like it doesn't matter, because what it is a big old cope and dodge from the fact that you're willing to pitch the Earth being a toroidal plane thing with an ice wall. You're going to pitch all of that, and you're going to ask us to throw all of our understanding of the solar system out without replacing it with something equally or better as good. And I don't think that's valid.
Okay, but this is like, I don't know what all we can say. It's like someone claims that a certain amount of people died in the historical event, and you find out that's not true. Well, tell me how many people really died, or I'm going to keep claiming that many people died. It's like, that doesn't make any sense. But like what I'm saying, when I said it doesn't matter, what I meant is, even if they're really spheres, it doesn't change that the Earth measures flat and isn't moving. Even Albert Pike explained that, right? Albert Pike in Morals and Dogma, you know, the Grand Mason. He said,
retarded and a liar.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But he's explaining their esoteric belief. And so you have the compass and the square. Okay. And he explains that we use plane geometry for the Earth, and we use spherical geometry for the spheres in the heaven. So it's been known for a long time, right, that there's a bunch of stuff moving around the Earth that look like spheres, and that the Earth is a plane. And so it really makes no sense to think that they have to be the same. That's actually kind of weird to think that. Like, imagine the first person that went outside, they looked up and they saw those lights in the sky. They're like, you know what? I bet the Earth is one of those lights. Why would you think that? That doesn't, no, that's not what we observe. We see everything moves around the Earth. There's a light show that moves around the Earth, and we use it for a calendar. All of a sudden, someone's like, no, actually, I think we're one of those lights. And then they saw Venus. This is the official story. Then they saw Venus, and they said, I bet the Earth is the same exact size as that light. And then they made the whole solar system from that assumption. Then they supposedly proved that they guessed it right decades later. That's the stupidest story I've ever heard in my life. Someone looked up and saw Venus and said, I bet the Earth is a sphere that's the exact same size as that light. What? And then they just got it right, because they built the whole solar system with that size, planet in Earth, and then they ratioed it out.
Again, big if true. Send me a source on that somebody made all that up based on just guessing that it was the same size.
That's the official story, bro.
You know what I think, dude? I think that when I look into each of those things that I said big if true to, I think I'm going to find out that you're full of shit and you're lying.
No. The official story is that they estimated, that they guessed that the Venus was the same size as the Earth, but the official story is that they eventually verified that it was true.
And based on what did they guess that?
Literally, they just had to have a size of one of the. They had to have a size for one of the planets.
Just threw a dart
to map out the. Dude, that's the official story, bro. I get that it sounds ridiculous. It's because it is ridiculous. And by the way, do you know all the people that made up the system? Like they worship the sun. Like, and Newton thought that the sun. And I'm not saying this on some like anti-pagan. No, I'm just saying like. That isn't science, right? Like
by the way, your Holocaust revisionist thing that you just said, by the way, that's all bullshit too.
What? You agree that if I don't know the true number, that doesn't somehow prove the other number. That's what I'm saying. Like I don't know how.
That's
true,
I don't know. But if you go around saying that you know something you don't know, you end up doing like the wrong thing.
Yeah, but if I say I know that number is not true, and you say how, and I say because here's the consensus of all of Europe, I've proven that number is not true. I don't need to know what the number is. That's all I'm saying. Like, that's just real, bro. Right? Like we're
but if you say I think it's probably more like this, well, based on what? And you're like, well, I know that number is not true.
Well, now let's talk about that. See, that's not actually what happens. I just say, look, they claim the Earth is a spinning ball, and we tested it. And here, if you actually research it and learn it, you'll find out that that's not, the evidence doesn't support that, right? And then people say, oh, yeah, well, then what about this, and this? So option one, I can be like, well, logically, falsification is independent of replacement. I don't know. I can't go out there. I can't verify. I don't know. People spiral, and they're like, see, that's how stupid flat Earth is, blah, blah, blah. Or I can give like good faith speculation, right? Like, I don't know. I can speculate this, and this court. Then it's like, I don't think so, or prove it. So that's the bad faith, because I can't go to space. And let me actually, this is pretty funny, more light. The guy in the chat said, Witsit pretending the Earth is flat, just so he can get a trip to space from Elon. Prove me wrong. And
it'd be easier to get it from Jeff Bezos, by the way. I mean, they're already.
Well, he doesn't go near as high, right? He goes like.
But you can see
miles.
the sphere. You can go up and see that it's a globe from that height.
Well, Nah. One of the ladies that was on the Blue Origin said that she was really disappointed because she thought she was going to get to see the curve of the Earth, and that they obviously weren't high enough to see it. That's what an actual passenger on Blue Origin said. But
Send me that, big if true. I watched them go up with the YouTube, the what's the thing? What's it? You know which one I'm talking about? They filmed it on YouTube.
Oh, yeah. The really big YouTube channel.
Those
Yeah,
guys.
it's like
Dude Perfect.
Yeah.
Dude went up with a GoPro while he was up there. He goes, and I can confirm it's round. I can see the curve. Was he lying?
Okay, first of all, GoPros can make my desk look like...
No, but he said he could see it out the window.
That's right. The guy said...
I think that when I look it up, what I think I'm going to find out is that when she said that, what she actually says, she wasn't high enough to be able to capture the curve in frame or something like that. I think you're full of shit.
She's saying you couldn't see the curve. Bro.
She was saying she couldn't see it with her eyes?
Yes.
She's saying when she was up there, she was like, I couldn't tell if the Earth was curved because it wasn't high enough.
She said that she was disappointed. She thought they were going to be high enough to see the curve of the Earth, but they couldn't. So whatever. And Neil deGrasse Tyson will tell you that at 62 miles, you can't see the curve of the Earth. You're only a couple millimeters above a beach ball. You wouldn't be able to tell that it's curving. But then there's the anti-flat earthers who say, no, I swear you can see it in a plane. Right. So it's like, who do we even trust here? Do we trust the random obsessive people that claim flat earth is really stupid, but then stalk us? Or do we trust the official sources, right? Like the scientific communicator with the astrophysics degree who says at 62 miles, you wouldn't see the curve of the Earth because you would just be like barely above it. But anyway, I just want to address the claim, right? So Elon claims that they're going up 300 to 500 kilometers. So that's way higher, right? That's like up to around 200 miles. That's way higher than 60 miles. And they're claiming that they're doing this like civilian program where you can you'll float around for 3 days. So you'll be in orbit at like 200 miles up for 3 days. So yeah, I tweeted out and said, let's end this once and for all, send the first flat earther to space.
Yeah.
And so now people are running this narrative or whatever. But the truth is like, I just actually would go up there, and if it was a ball, I'd come back and tell everyone I've been wrong the whole time that the Earth's a ball. And these people just can't conceive of that. They think I do this to grift or something, and I'm like, all right, well, that was a terrible decision because you don't make any money being a flat earther, bro. But anyway, what do you think about that? You think I should try to get Elon to send me to space?
I mean, I guess somebody's got to do it. I guess, but I mean. Is anybody else that they send up there who says that it's a ball, you're just going to say that they're lying, right? I suppose because you won't take their word for it.
Well, it depends on who it is. Like, I think I kind of speak for all of us, where it's like if it's legitimately just a normal person that can kind of be trusted, then maybe we can take what they're saying pretty legitimately, right? Mm-hmm. But usually,
like astronauts who go to the space station, do you think there is a space station up there, right?
They're all like military.
So you think they're just all in on it lying?
I don't think anyone is on the ISS. That's right.
Oh, you don't think anybody's on the ISS? You think it's empty?
No, the ISS is real. Like I've tracked it.
But there's nobody on it.
Nah. Well, I mean, if there's someone on the ISS, for some reason they still fake footage, right? Like for sure you can prove they faked things. They've used green screen and glitches and wires and crazy stuff. But people say the same thing about the moon landing, right? Like I think Harris and Alex Jones take.
No, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. Look, I think I've seen some of the stuff that they say is fake. And I think it's not. I think some of it they say, oh, I think there's a wire right here because the pocket moved. No, I think that guy's pinky went in his pocket. I think it was just like,
that one's terrible.
But I think there are other ones that you've been able to catch that, yeah, they had a green screen or some sort of tracking device on them because they're faking it because that's cheaper. It's just when you're making educational materials, you're going to have to do multiple takes. You want to have the lighting set up, and it's something that's being made for school, and they're pretending, hey, we're astronauts, and we're in space, and we're teaching you about how gravity works and everything like that. And so they're just doing stuff. Sometimes there are some faked videos, because what's the price of putting an astronaut and a film crew in space versus what's the cost of setting up a film studio? You know, so I think sometimes, and I think some of those things are being taken and being look, they're faking things, therefore it's all fake. And I think that's a false.
But think about how weird this has just gotten, right? Like you're effectively being a defense attorney explaining why they're faking stuff. Mm-hmm. What that means, even if what you said is true, is the government is lying to us, claiming that there are videos of them in space.
I know that the government lies all the time. And this is why I don't like
everyone trust NASA. It's so
here's
weird.
The problem.
It's so weird.
Because I think that what you do, one of the damages that flat earth theory does is that when people think of conspiracy or government psyops or government corruption, government dishonesty, if somebody tries to talk about the government's lying to us about this, now anybody who's talking about that, when you find actual lies that they're telling us, having to do with wars or drugs or blah, 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 society. Now there's this whole other group of fringe people who are like, yeah, and they're lying to us about the earth too. And they're lying to us about the moon. And they're lying to us about God and demons and angels and the earth's hollow and it's a toroid and there's and it's like, that is so fucking kooky. But now everybody who talks about actual conspiracy is being lumped in with, now conspiracy theory means I don't even know what the fucking moon is. The moon's made of cheese plasma.
That's stupid. How can you just group everyone in anyway? Like if someone does that, they're just stupid. It's the same thing with like how they try to.
People are stupid.
I don't care about stupid people, bro. Like I'm not.
Well, I do because I live in a world where they all vote and they all go to work with me and they drive down the road with me and they all.
What can we do, bro?
Well, we cannot fill their minds with fairy tales that confuse them because they're retarded.
You mean like the idea that the earth is tilted and wobbling 4 different wobbles and we're spinning and we're flying around the sun, flying through space, but we just can't tell? Like that's stupid to me. The idea that space and time change and warp to create illusion. This is Jewish mysticism, bro. It's totally fake nonsense. Like this is the important part. I don't know why this never lands, but for one, I don't trust the federal government. Okay. For some reason, people give NASA the exception, like give them the pass. Like, oh, I don't trust any federal government agency. They're all lying except for NASA. I've gone and talked to astronauts face to face. I caught them lying. I have it recorded. I haven't published it yet because I know they won't let me keep going in there, right? If I get it out, I caught them lying. I looked them in the eyes, bro. I don't care what other people think. I want to know the truth. If they're in space, I want to know. If the Earth's a globe, I want to know. It's not. Okay. I'm open to being wrong. I caught them lying. So now what that means is I can't trust anything the government's saying about the Earth. I'm like, that's off the table. Like the moon landing, if some people believe in that, I don't know why, but I don't trust them. So now if we take this government out of the picture, that's almost all the evidence that makes people think that the Earth is a ball in space. If you don't have pictures from the government, you have almost nothing. I mean, that's when Elon steps in now, right?
Dude, they figured out that the Earth was a ball before America existed. That's not where it comes from.
Where did you hear that?
Dude, they had fucking dudes setting up
Reuters
shadows and measuring the distances of shadows at different parts of Alexandria versus this way, and then doing a little bit. They invented calculus for this shit. Like they're figuring it out. Geometry like showed us that the Earth is spherical based on noon shadow at this point has a different length shadow than noon shadow at this point. If you noon over here, it's this long versus noon over here, it's this long. If it was flat, they would be the same, or you know what I mean? Like, and they were able to calculate the curve, the actual curve way before, like the shadows inside of wells that are deep enough. Like you can calculate the curve of the Earth way before, like Galileo and that's like way before. They were peering out with telescopes and figuring out the solar system and the curvature of the Earth way before NASA.
Okay, that's true, right? But they, first of all, when they invented the whole solar system they thought the sun was in the center of the entire universe. And the person that mapped out the planets is called Kepler. They believed that the sun was basically a god that was singing a song, a heavenly song, and vibrated and made everything move around it. And then Newton said, if gravity does exist, it must be an act of God. He actually called gravity God, and he said, but the Earth could just be in the center. And they took that part out. That these are all just facts that you'll never hear any of this. But yeah, let's talk about the first thing you're saying. Everyone says that. You know how like whenever they were shut the world down, they told us we had to take their stuff, right? Everyone was saying the same things. They were just repeating stories. Everyone was repeating a narrative. No, this is how it works, and this is what it does. And okay, that's the same thing with this. They say, yeah, they proved the Earth was a ball. Back the Greeks did it. They looked at the shadows and they determined the circumference of the Earth. It's called Eratosthenes, right? And the story is that he looked into 2 different shadows. They were 500 miles apart. And then he measured the difference in the shadows and he was able to get a circumference, right? Because it's like bending a certain rate. So you can get a spherical circumference.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The official story, first of all, there's only like 2 secondary documentations of this and they contradict each other. Like one, it uses wells, one uses something. It doesn't matter. He only used 2 shadows in the story. Okay. You can't prove the difference in a flat Earth or a sphere with 2 shadows it would happen on a flat Earth as well. And like even Michelle Thaler from NASA and Neil deGrasse Tyson in this anti-flat Earth video admit that. So the official story is that they use 2 shadows, but you would need many more shadows to see if it's a flat Earth or a globe. Yet everyone repeats it and claims they proved the Earth was a globe. But we have to demonstrate everything or we're liars, right? So we've done the test and shown like a light source. If the sun was closer over a flat Earth, you get the same thing, or the sun's super, super far away, right? And then the light rays are parallel on a sphere and you get it. So think about that. Like whether the Earth is flat or a globe, they're lying to everyone to make them say it's a globe. Don't you think that's weird? Like that's why I would say the strongest arguments against flat Earth is that the CIA created a psyop to discredit the rest of the conspiracy theories, kind of like you said.
Mm-hmm.
And what they did to breathe life into it was they put all this mainstream evidence out for the globe, but lied and made it deceptive so that people would see that it was a lie and then they would think flat Earth had some legitimacy. And that's such a reach though, because like that's the only evidence that they have. So I'm just saying I'm still manning the best case other side, right? The idea that it's just really easily debunked and the whole earth would be lit up. It's just all stupid. The arguments against it is stupid. So like, have you heard that though? National Geographic created 2 videos that disproved flat Earth, quote unquote, and they blatantly lied in both of them. And they've been forensically analyzed, right? They literally took the same frame, overlaid a helicopter into the frame, and claimed that the curvature was blocking it. And you can prove it. There are little birds that go on the very same. There are little birds that go across the scene at the very same place. The waves move exactly. You can overlay them. They're the same scene, but they put a helicopter in it. I've never even heard a Globe Earth ever deny like it's blatantly fake. It's damning. And so the question would be like, why did they lie in the Stephen Hawking documentary to claim they proved the Earth's a globe? Like, why would you have to lie about
I
it?
mean,
Like,
honestly, it's probably because the editor was just like, this looks better. Honestly, just like stuff like that happens all the time. Somebody's got to edit together a big old documentary. He wants it to look cool, and the footage that they got looked like shit. So they just like, he just made it. He just like replicated the thing. It's probably
just
that.
so you know, like what the idea was like they were pretty far away from a helicopter that was going to land and take off.
Right.
And since the Earth's a ball, then it should have been blocking some of the helicopter, right?
Mm-hmm.
When it landed. And they show the magic moment, the reveal when you couldn't see all the helicopter. And they're like, oh, see, proved it, Earth's a globe. And then people analyzed it and it was completely fake. Like the whole thing was faked. They put a helicopter. You agree that's pretty suspect, right? Like that was seen by
but it's suspect of the fact that like it's a company who's trying to make money.
But why you gotta lie? Like flat Earth is supposedly so stupid.
It's not. You're calling it a lie, but it's like, dude, it's the History Channel who's making a program. Like television is lies, movies are lies, it's fiction. And so it doesn't mean that they had to lie and they couldn't do it right. The point is they wanted to make it phenomenal. They're trying to make something, it's movie magic. They're trying to make something like a wow moment in their dumb video that they're making.
Well, so like here's the globe, it would just block the helicopter, you just film it and move on.
Yeah, so you could actually set up a really good experiment that you get good footage, and then the helicopter goes down and the cameraman doesn't miss it, and everybody did it right. Or in post, you could just edit a helicopter in. Which one's easier?
Well, one of them is lying and being deceptive.
Yeah, and they don't care.
No, I agree, they don't care. But my point is,
they're a company who's trying to make money and sell commercial ads.
Dude, just be logical though. Like, if the Earth is a globe and flat Earth is so stupid, you wouldn't have to lie to prove it. A 5-year-old could go out there with their camera and
they weren't trying to prove it. They were trying to make money.
That's what they said. Well,
that's what they said. Oh, that's what the Hollywood movie commercial selling TV guy said.
Just so you know, it's a National Geographic documentary about Stephen Hawking, right? So it's all about science, and they lied. It doesn't prove one way or the other.
Yeah,
but it's a lie.
They aren't science. They are a production company.
With scientists, right? And so then there's another one they put out where they supposedly these got millions of views, bro. This was to shut down flat Earth. They put a boat and they ran it out with a sign on it, and they're like, watch, part of the bottom of the sign is going to get blocked by the curve. And they said, okay, look, there's a whole 2 lines missing at the bottom that proves the Earth's a ball. And then they say in the documentary, like, that's the only explanation. It proves the Earth's a globe. They lied though. like, because there actually wasn't another line down there. They were pretending there was more of the sign than there really was, just lying, and the horizon was out behind it. They faked a whole test. That means that they
Hmm.
went into the test knowing they were going to fake it so that they could claim that the Earth was a globe. That's 2 times National Geographic, 2 for 2, just blatantly lied to try to claim the Earth's a globe. Then you have Behind the Curve, the Netflix documentary, the most popular flat Earth documentary ever, right? That supposedly the flat earthers proved the Earth was a globe themselves, and we have them documented admitting that they made it a hit piece and they lied and twisted everything around because they say flat Earth is dangerous. They had to make sure no one watches it. So I guess my point there, bro, is you have to understand that if there's a truther, right, and they start looking into this and they find out that every mainstream film that's supposedly proving it is lying, obviously they're going to be like, well, we have to scratch this. And they go look at NASA and they see them faking stuff. They're like, okay, we can't trust any of that. We're going to have to go check it ourselves. Like, you at least,
You
can
know,
you not at least
I
like
get
buy
you
with
that it's a problem, because if people lose trust in what the people that they think that they can trust, then they just throw it all out. And you're saying, I talked to a guy, I think he was lying to me, so now I just don't trust the government at all anymore. Because if that guy lied, then
Well,
they
yeah,
all could
yeah,
be lying. But I don't see you.
yeah.
I don't see you doing the same level of scrutiny of yourself and the other guys. If Eric Dubé tells a lie that I can say is a lie, or if you tell a lie that I can say is a lie, we don't throw everything you say out. We don't throw everything, and I think we should. And I mean, but that's the problem, though. Like, you want to point the finger at National Geographic, or at I found a string in one of their videos or something, so they didn't go to the moon. You want to do that, but if I catch you in a lie, or if I catch you like, fucking with the truth a little bit, if I catch Eric Dubé kind of twisting his words a little bit like that, do you guys throw those out? I don't see you doing
Yeah.
that. It's like you have an agenda. You're looking to be proven right. And what you're right
Dude, if
about is
someone's
that they're
intentionally
wrong.
lying, if there's someone's intentionally lying, they are discredited. And obviously there are probably things they say are true, but we can't trust them. If someone says something and is wrong and then comes out and said, okay, I was wrong about that, or like what I said is misleading, then I don't care about that, right? Like, people make mistakes. Dude, I have thousands of hours of talking about some of the most complex physics in the world. And then basically my life is every little nerdy Bill Nye wannabe thinks they got a gotcha on me 24/7. And I
Right.
don't know every square inch of existence, right? So I'm wrong at times. I may say things and misremember things at times, but it's about like being honest. It's about the intention to deceive, right? Like that, like the intention to deceive is lying. And I'm just saying that's what they do. And I call flat earthers out for anything like that all the time. I call them out all the time because I just don't like liars at all. Like, if I get something wrong, I'm not lying.
I think that
I
when
was
you
just
do
wrong.
I think what you do sounds like, when you say it appears as though it might be a sphere, and then
Oh
you
yeah.
say that you don't know what the moon is, and it might be plasma and stuff, and you give us kind of a big word salad, and then you dodge to, well, that's not the right question to ask, and that wouldn't really matter anyway if the Earth was black. I think you're lying. I think what you're actually doing is sort of just evading the truth. It's like a lie by omission. And I think you're doing your best to skirt around things.
Why though? Why? Why? Like what? Why? Like,
Why
why
would you
would I be
lie, or why
scared?
is that lying?
What I'm saying, why would I be scared if the moon's a sphere? Like I'm saying, that's what I don't understand. Like, that doesn't bother me at all if the moon's a sphere. I openly admit it looks like it's a sphere. The thing is, I've never seen the other side of it, and there's 1,000 ways that something can look like a sphere and not be a sphere. And you can replicate it, right? Like, you can have a flat piece of paper that looks like a sphere, like 1,000 ways. You can have something concave, you can have something flat, you can have a hemisphere, you can have all kinds of things. I agree it looks like a sphere, but we've never seen the other side of it, bro. So, like, I can't say I know it's a sphere. The thing is that flat earthers just suspended belief. We're not just going to start claiming we know things we don't know. We're not going to say we know that star is 17 trillion miles away. That's stupid. I'm not going to look into the sky and be like, I'm looking back in time. No, I'm not. That's stupid. These are fairy tales that weirdos made up, and I don't believe them. So I get what you're saying, that it sounds like I'm like evading it and not being honest. Like, no, I'm just trying to make the point. Like, I don't know, bro. I'm not gonna start making stuff up. That's what got us in this mess. And also I'll say
In
this,
what
dude. I've
mess?
traveled where everyone thinks everyone ridicules people about this discussion, but they're grossly underinformed. They don't know anything. I traveled the United States.
But the things that you bring up, dude, like, honestly, I gotta tell you, like, there's moon waves. Like, I videoed it, and there was moon waves. I don't know. Is there fucking dust blowing across the moon? Is there a perturbation in our atmosphere? Like, you don't fucking know, and you don't tell me that you know why. You just say there's moon waves, therefore maybe the moon's making its own light.
I think I know why. Well, no. I actually think that it's just in a fluid medium. I don't think space is a vacuum, and I think there's a fluid there. And if the Earth is in the center, even Edwin Hubble.
But that's what I mean. You'll say, I don't know what's on the backside of the moon, never been there. But then you'll say you think that there's a fluid medium up there. You haven't fucking been there. Why do you think that there's a fluid medium? You see, you don't give yourself the same level.
I think, bro.
Yeah, but right. But do you think that the moon is a sphere? I don't know. I haven't been there, but I think it's in a fluid medium.
I think the moon, like if I had to guess what I think right now, like a plasma type of sphere, like some type of spherical plasma.
What do you mean? Plasma.
What do I mean?
What kind of plasma stays the same all the time, month after month? It doesn't move.
if there's a specific charge, it's just going to look like plasma. Like, dude,
what do you mean?
I don't know
look like plasma. Plasma typically is moving. All the plasma I'm familiar with is pretty fluid.
No, people have replicated what looks like the moon in the form of plasma.
What kind of plasma? Like blood? Blood is plasma.
No. Like
the fire, the moon. Like when I'm welding, I have like a plasmic fucking bead of like liquid molten metal. There's plasma happening in the electrical arc. What kind of plasma? I use a plasma cutter torch to cut through metal. I'm familiar with plasma.
You know,
what kind of plasma is just frozen?
Ionized gas is plasma. Ionized gas is plasma.
So you think it's an ionized gas that just...
I don't know what it is, bro. Like,
I'm asking you what you think it is.
Yeah, but then
you told me you think it's in the fluid medium. What do you think the thing is that's in the fluid medium? You don't know. You don't have a concept of what you think that it is.
I think it's a light that looks like a sphere. I think it's a huge mystery. I think both the sun and the moon are huge mysteries, and that's because I think this place was created, bro. And like, you can disagree with that, but I think that we can't understand the sky. But then everyone comes around thinking they're super smart and wants me to tell them about the sky. But what's so funny is all the stories people believe about the sky. So you know how we got them? People made them up, bro.
Okay. So, you're about to give me this thing that you're doing right there. It's like, I think that's lying. Like you're just you're starting to tell me a story and contextualize and frame and get all these things together to where it's like, and then maybe it's a plasma if I put it this way. And that's like the big setup. That's the trap. You're doing like a word trap. Like you're doing like a word salad fucking confusion lie that's designed to obfuscate. And it's you're going to give me all these big if truths that I don't have a way about verifying. I'm not familiar with, and it's going to be one after the other. And you're skating away from the fact.
Go verify what I'm saying.
I'm going to do that after this stream. Yeah, I'm going to have to.
You're not going to be able to prove anything I said wrong, though, and that's what I'm trying to say to you. But that's what I'm trying to say to you is like, I get it sounds crazy.
I've already done it to you one time, and we're going to go to gravity next, so don't leave before we get to gravity. But I've already done it to you one time because you already brought up that one guy. I don't remember his name, but the last time I was watching one of your videos, this is a couple months ago, so it's not fresh for me. But you brought up this guy. You're like, this guy has a theory, and it's in a peer-reviewed paper, and he basically says that there's a different way of looking at math where you could see that everything going around the Earth would be the same as the Earth going around the sun. And I looked at that guy's
it's a sphere.
That guy's a quack.
What?
That guy's a quack in the paper, in the journal that he was in. It's a fucking quack journal.
The European Journal of Physics.
That's not what it was. And
yeah, it is. Luka Popov,
Luka Popov. Yeah, the guy is a quack.
Dude, but you know why they call him a quack? Because he is a geocentrist. Okay,
that's not the only reason. Because he's involved in other quackery, and that's all he does is quack stuff.
Bro, this is. Do you not see how this is just like J-ish propaganda terms?
No,
like dismiss anything that doesn't fit within.
That guy is the Deepak Chopra of physics, dude, and not even on that level.
Dude, that's called a genetic fallacy, bro.
Okay,
instead of addressing. But what
the fallacy you're doing is you're doing a false equivalence where you're equating him with actual peer-reviewed scientists and engineers.
It's the European Journal of Physics, bro. It's not. It's the European Journal of Physics. It's not some.
But citing as though he got it in there, and I don't even remember if that was it.
Well, I know the story. He submitted that. It got published and peer-reviewed, and they're like, okay, the math does check out, but we don't know for sure that the Machian principle is true. Then he submitted another one. And in that one, he just really actually suggests that geocentrism is more viable, and they refuse to publish it. Dude, do you not agree that that's bad? Do you not see that there are
They
people that have
refused
heart
to
attacks
publish
everywhere?
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
so he snuck one by him. Dude, James Lindsay goes and does this all the time, and he was just on Joe Rogan talking about it the other day. He's out there writing all of these journals. They are pay for play, and they'll bring things in and they'll post stuff up, and you're like acting like because he got a thing posted,
James
it's
Lindsay
like
is
legit.
a joke, bro. Like, that dude is such a joke. I don't care.
Are you saying he didn't do those studies that he wrote that he got published, and it's all about how like sexual gender dysphoria based on like walking your dog the wrong way or like whatever the hell that his thing was? He's getting all this stuff published. They publish stuff. It's
publish
quacky shit gets published
exactly.
all the time is my point.
But
and saying that this guy is a peer
this.
reviewed guy and this is real, you're promoting it like it's
well,
legit.
Look, bro.
And
If
ain't.
I wrote that out on a napkin, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who wrote it. It's just math, and it's objective. You can show the math the other way around. You could even use gravity and show that the Earth can be in the center, everything moving around it.
Yeah.
No one's ever refuted the math. And then I show relational mechanics from objects. He's a PhD astronomy professor that's been respected for 30 years, who writes all the math and physics of how the Earth could be in the center. He doesn't think the Earth is in the center, right? But he says objectively it can be. Here's relativity, here's Newtonian, whatever gravity you use, all the math works with the Earth in the center. And
I bet all that math works with me in the center. I bet it does. I bet there's a math we can do where I'm the center. Okay. And when I do a push up, the Earth's moving away from me.
Check this. Do you agree, bro, that if the Earth is in the center of the universe, that's significant? We agree that would be significant. So like, how do we go about seeing if it's doing that, right? Like, because I tried to find out if the Earth is moving, and I found out that it's not. If I quote Stephen Hawking said, the Earth could be in the center of the universe. It matches all observations and experiments. It can never be disproven. I choose not to believe it because on grounds of modesty. Albert Einstein said everything occurs on the Earth as if the Earth is in a state of rest, right? And is not moving and is in the center of the universe. Edwin Hubble said, all observations say that the Earth is in the center of the universe, a central Earth akin to ancient civilizations and conceptions. But we choose to disregard that at all costs because of the horror of being in a special position in the universe. So my point here is they did not tell you that. They told you when you were 5, here's the solar system, and then you made little balls, and you were taught that it's a scientific fact. It's been proven. Well, when I went and read all the PhDs that made the model, Einstein, Arthur Eddington, Stephen Hawking, all these people, right? They said, no, that's not true. Edwin Hubble, it's called the Hubble telescope because he's the one that changed the whole model to accelerative expansion. He's huge in that paradigm. I just named 3 of the biggest people that created the entire model: Einstein, Edwin Hubble, and Stephen Hawking. All of them write extensively and repeatedly and explain the Earth could be in the center of the universe, and it actually matches the evidence, right? But we just philosophically don't want to go that route. So why didn't they tell us that? Why did they tell us that it was science and it had been proven? Why didn't they tell us that actually it could be in the center? Do you not think that's weird? Because
that's not how it appears. It doesn't appear to be in the center. No,
it does.
You're saying that there's a way of looking at math where the difference between this and the center versus this, we don't know where the center is. The difference between this going around that or that going around this is indistinguishable. There's a part of math that's that way. Way of calculating physics.
No,
but when we look at how everything's working,
it looks like we're in the center. The current model says everything looks like visually looks like we're in the center. And they say the reason is because the universe is accelerating and expanding in every direction. So it's just going to look like it's in the, like if you were on a balloon, if you put a little ant on a balloon and you blew the balloon up, if the ant looked around, like he's not going to know, he's going to think he's in the center of the balloon, right? But he's not. Or the other analogy they use is like a raisin and a loaf of bread as it gets bigger and bigger. From that perspective of the raisin, you would think you're in the center because it's expanding out like a balloon. Or you could put little dots all over the balloon, and as it gets bigger, each dot's getting further away from each other and can look like it's in the center. That's the official story. And the reason is because when they looked out in space and they got these really dope telescopes that can see super far, they were shocked to find out that even the things the most far away move around the Earth. Everything moves in relation to
But
the
in
Earth.
our solar system, it looks like the planets are going around the sun.
The sun makes its annual cycle, and the planets do as well, and they seem to move in relation to each other. Yeah.
So you just
Everything just
resaid what
moves
I
around
said
it.
in a way that's everything except for what I just said.
Well, just more specific. It doesn't. You can
No, it
interpret
looks
it on,
like everything goes around the sun.
or if you map out all the planets and then map out the sun's path, they both just do their own path within the torus field. You can assume that they're moving around there, but here's the thing: even if they were, it also wouldn't prove that the Earth is. That's actually the Luka Popov paper.
I know.
Yeah.
See, that's what you do.
He uses that idea.
I
He
know.
uses that idea.
So even
I don't believe in
if,
that.
but then it's like the sun's going around the Earth and everything else is going around the sun, but everything's going. Dog. It's
Yeah,
like.
but I don't believe that though. Like, because to me, this is the thing, bro. When you look at all the paths, they fit right within the flower of life. Do you think it's just a coincidence that if the Earth is stationary
No,
and
I
in the
don't.
center,
I don't think it's a coincidence.
well, that's what the official story is that it's just a coincidence.
Well, that's because stupid. I don't know. Sacred geometry is crazy, and the divine ratios we're still figuring shit out. Like we don't know why it's like 1.618 to 1. Like we don't like it's circles, dude. It's literally just like it has to do with if you draw a circle with its radius on the edge of another circle, you end up with this ratio. And oh shit, everything is circles, and circles relating with circles works out into patterns that match that pattern. Whoa, big fucking that's crazy.
No, I'm saying like in the quantum scale and in all flowers and in your biology and in everything, we see that ratio. It's just how pressure when things take equilibrium, they make that pattern
right
everywhere.
Because everything is spherical.
Your side has to ignore that because it can't combine the quantum scale with the earthly scale with the cosmological scale because that's why they say that they can't unify the theory, right? Because you have to have relativity, and they think there's some graviton and all this weirdo stuff. So, and dude, think about this. This is what I want you to think about this. So,
and then we're going to do gravity.
Okay, cool. This is kind of can segue into that. So, like, for the current model, I explained that it's like just an illusion that we're in the center, right? Like that's the official story. Well, they say it's because it's accelerating and expanding faster than the speed of light, right? The universe is expanding. So in order for it to expand out like that balloon we talked about, there has to be some type of energy making it do that, right? And so they call that dark energy because they can't find it anywhere. Right. And so we can do tests where we have a vacuum and there's energy in the vacuum. It's called vacuum energy or quantum electrodynamics, right? Mm-hmm. So even in a vacuum, when you get as much air out as you can, there's still like electromagnetic energy in there. Mm-hmm. They took the vacuum energy value and tried to apply it to the sky because that would work perfect, right? It's like, oh, it's a vacuum. That would be the energy there. And it was off by 10 to the 120th power. Like that's 120 zeros. It wasn't even close. It's like the biggest discrepancy ever, right? Mm-hmm. So they couldn't use it. So it's still called dark energy. There must be some energy there that no one can find. It's not in the vacuum on the Earth. It's just in space, and no one knows what it is, where it is, how it works, anything. But it has to be there, mm-hmm. which is not how science works. Because if the Earth is just in the center, you don't need dark energy, right? You don't need energy expanding the universe. The Earth
right. You just need plasma.
No, plasma is irrelevant. The moon can be what they said it is and still the Earth's in the center. Okay, so dark energy is laughably...
Wait a minute. No, if there's no plasma, what is it suspended in and how?
Oh, okay. That's a different thing.
So you invoke plasma, they invoke dark energy.
No. Plasma was a speculation.
No. Oh, sorry. The superfluid, whatever the fuck you think that the moon is in. What do you think it's in? Some fluid?
Oh, yeah. I said, yeah, it looks like it's a fluid medium.
Yeah, so you're invoking an invisible fluid medium that you can't find, touch, you've never experienced. You just think that that's there. They think dark energy is there. But you don't want to discredit them because they're postulating dark energy, whatever that is. And you're like, no, I think there's a fluid up there.
No, here's the difference. I can prove superfluid is a real thing that exists in a lab. Superfluid exists. It's a real thing. They're claiming something exists that no one can find. It's just a made-up idea. But anyway, then the next thing is dark matter. Okay. And so if you combine dark energy and dark matter, it makes up 96% of their universe. That means that they can explain 96% of what the universe is made of But if the Earth's in the center, you don't need either one of those things.
No,
And then that segues into gravity, obviously, because
they're talking about
dark matter.
It counts for 96% of the forces of movement of the celestial bodies. It's not
No.
It's not actually what is. It's like they're postulating the existence of a thing that is the cause of a force. They're looking for a cause for a force that seems to be apparent in the math.
96% of all the matter and energy in the universe is dark matter and dark energy. That's so bad, bro. Like how bad does your theory have to be?
Yeah.
Well, matter and energy, but I'm saying, how bad does your theory have to be, bro? If you came up with a theory and it predicted 100 pennies and then there were just 4 pennies or whatever, right? Like, your theory's wrong. We're going to throw your theory out. It's stupid. It's not even close. Typically in science, like, you have to get within 1%.
No, I think this is bullshit. I think what you're saying that it's a bad theory. I don't think that holds water.
It is. No. Like
I think it's actually just a discovery. I think it's like, all right, we've discovered that there's something that we don't know yet. We've discovered we have a new known unknown. There's unknown unknowns. There's known knowns, and there's known unknowns. There's things we know that we don't know, and now we know something that we don't know about. We know there's something that we don't know about. It's just a new discovery of something that's unknown.
By the way, it's not new. It was discovered almost 100 years ago. It's just that no one can figure it out.
That's new. But I mean, just like, I'm just saying.
100 years is, especially with the technology we have now.
Quantum physics is new. Shit's new.
Somewhat. It's still decades old, but
they discovered steam engines like a little over 100 years ago. Like,
dark matter was not. Yeah, and look how much we've come since then. Technology.
Yeah, and that stuff. We're doing all that on the Earth, and they're talking about something that's out there where we can't go yet. And you're like, well, they haven't figured it out yet. It's like, well, we're not there yet.
This is what I want you to know, bro. It wasn't that they discovered it. It was that if our gravity theory is true, then there has to be something called dark matter. Mm-hmm. That's why hundreds of physicists are proposing alternatives to relativity, because no one can verify the dark matter idea. No one can find it. No one can even explain what it is.
Hundreds of physicists are postulating a difference.
I mean, thousands.
Thousands of them. Big if true.
Literally, like NASA's own database has over 200 proposed replacements on their database. That there's something called modified Newtonian dynamics. And there's tons of little theories underneath that, right? And that is replacing relativity and getting rid of dark matter. Mm-hmm. But it also doesn't work. So it helps with the dark matter problem, but it doesn't help with other stuff. And this is what I'm trying to say. Someone will jump on my X, right? And they'll be like, you're so retarded. You don't even understand relativity. Da, 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 da. It's like, every real physicist knows that relativity didn't work. And it's just a placeholder until we figure out what else could work. Right. So most physicists will tell you dark matter is a major problem. We don't know if it's real at all. It's just plugged in to make the math work. But I'm saying that if the Earth is geocentric and everything's electromagnetic, you don't even need it. So how would that not be a better theory? That's what I don't understand.
Let's get to gravity. What do you think gravity is? You think that the moon is a plasma. You don't know if it's a sphere. Could be. You don't care. That's not a cope. That's just you not caring. For some reason, that's something you don't care about.
I can't verify.
What?
I just can't verify it. I would love to know what it is.
Right. But you don't know. But you don't know what it is. Don't know if it's a sphere. Don't know if it's a plasma. Don't know if it's solid. Don't know if it makes its own light. Don't know if it's sunlight reflected. Just don't know.
I don't think so, but yeah.
But don't think so. What do you think gravity is? What do you think is the force that causes when I jump, I go down? Why I go down?
Yeah. Okay, so
why?
People hate that it's not a straightforward answer. So there's little g. So like if you're asking me why things go down, well, it's because I picked the phone up and I dropped it. It went down.
Nope. No. Stop. That wasn't a why.
No. Yeah, it is. The phone doesn't drop.
Why does thing go down? Because thing goes down.
It weighs more than the air.
That's a tautology. That's not an answer.
It weighs more than the air.
Why does it weigh more than the air?
Okay. Because it has weight equals mass times acceleration.
Why does that happen?
Okay, because we have to define the terms. So like, what is mass? Mass is volume times density, meaning in a certain amount of volume, there's a certain amount of matter. And density means compactness of matter. So since my phone has a certain compactness of matter within its little volume, right? Its mass times the fact that we know it's going to fall at a certain rate can help us determine its weight. Okay, so then we need to figure out, wait, what's giving it density, right? What's giving it the density? Mass equals volume times density. That's what's making it go down. So what gives it density? What's making the matter compacted, right? Holding it together. And the answer is electrostatics. All molecular and intermolecular attractive forces are electrostatic. So every piece of matter in the world is held together by electrostatic bonds. So that would be the primary thing that's giving it its density, that's therefore going to give it its weight, and things are going to fall. Okay, and we have little g, which is gravity, right? And that's 9.8 meters per second squared. That's just how fast the things fall on average. So it's just an effect. It's like things fall down, we measure how fast they fall, and we give it a value. You could replace little g with little a, right? The reason we don't do that is because we use little a for other things as well, and it kind of can get confusing if you don't. So we just use a different letter. All it is downward acceleration. Little g, 9.8 meters per second squared, is just the effect, right? It's like the average of how fast things fall.
The effect of what?
Just the effect of how fast things fall.
You told me everything you know about gravity, but I'm still waiting for why does it fall?
I just explained it. I said it's more dense.
You just told me what happens, but you didn't tell me why.
I said because it has weight, it's heavier than the air.
But why would density cause it to fall?
Because the object is going to mediate relative to its medium.
Why would it do? Why does it do that?
Because everything in the universe does that. Everything is trying to seek equilibrium. Everything is, right?
Wait. It's seeking?
Yeah. Everything seeks equilibrium, like the second law of thermodynamics.
It seeks it out.
Yeah. Well, okay, that's just
the thing itself is seeking?
It's not sentient, no, but come on, bro.
So is there a force at play there that's causing that to happen?
Well, that we call buoyancy a force because it acts as a force.
Who calls buoyancy a force?
It's called the buoyant force. Everyone calls it that.
Is buoyancy That's what physics calls it.
Yeah, the buoyant force. But anyway, I will say there's something else to it. So most flat earthers just say like density and buoyancy, you know? And I don't agree to that.
So what is buoyancy?
Okay, buoyancy.
I just looked it up, so I know the answer. So it's a trick question.
It's not a trick question, though. You know, I know, right?
Yeah,
so
okay.
The equation for buoyancy has little g in it. Oh, we just covered that's just the effect.
All right.
Wait. It's the effect because of gravity. I know what the gotcha is. Okay. It's that the density of the object relative to the medium go up or down based on gravity. The idea is if it goes up, it's because the air is being pulled down, and that it goes up in relation to the medium. Blah blah blah.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Now, it's important to understand, though, that in that equation...
So buoyancy is water pushing up on the ship.
Sure. That's how people conceptualize it.
How do you conceptualize it?
Well, I'm trying to explain it, bro. Like, I do think that there is a downward bias. Okay? Like, I think that, and this is why, though. It's because there's tons of electromagnetic energy coming from the sky. Tons of it. People call them cosmic rays and all that stuff. We can measure it, right? Like tons of EM comes from the sky. It's like pressing down on us.
Can it be blocked?
No, it can never be completely blocked.
Why not?
So you can block. You can.
What kind of electromagnetic energy you can't block? You can't just put a lead umbrella over you and then just float up. Why not?
Okay, chill, bro. That's ridiculous. You just Mary Poppins to me, bro.
Yeah. I mean, you can block electromagnetic energy all the time. It's like
you can block a lot of it, and we usually use Faraday cages to do that. That's the best thing. But there's no such thing as a perfect Faraday cage. And if anyone can make one,
what about a partial one? Can you diminish the effect of gravity in a Faraday cage? Do you get half as heavy?
Well, this is the point that everyone gets confused here. I never can get past this part. It's like everyone thinks there has to be a force pulling us down to the earth because that's what they think gravity is. But really, it's just there's a downward bias that sets up and down, and then the density is going to sort everything else out. If I get in a Faraday cage, my density didn't change, right? Like my density is still the same. And even in a vacuum chamber, there is what's called electric permittivity and magnetic permeability. Fancy way of saying even in a vacuum, there's still electric and magnetic fields. You can never get rid of it. Even in a Faraday cage, there's electric and magnetic fields. Even if you put Faraday material between objects, blah, blah, blah. You can never get rid of it. You can significantly decrease it though. But on the smallest scale, right, like electrostatics is 10 to the 36th power stronger than gravity's even claimed to be on the smallest scale. So that is the dominant force on the earth. Everything's electric. And by the way, Nikola Tesla explained this, and then the government came in and took most of his work, right? And now people think that, I don't want to go on a rabbit hole, but now people think UFOs are crazy. They must defy material sciences. It must be aliens, all this weirdo stuff. Like, no, it's just electric. And the government hid it, and they gave you this Jewish mysticism physics so that you won't know what they're doing. But long story short, everything's electric, bro. That's it. And there's energy that comes down from the sky. And I did a test and proved it. Like if you change the charge, you can make an object go up. Like I put two plates with objects inside the plates, and so it has an electric field in between the plates. Just like on the Earth, we have an electric field. Then I started spinning a Van de Graaff generator. So it's a little belt, right? And it creates friction, which creates charge, and then it'll transfer it to whatever you plug the wires on. Okay, so when I started doing that, after I put the negative on top and the positive on bottom, and I started spinning it up, all of a sudden the object went up.
What kind of object?
And so I did a little iron filing. So iron, like styrofoam, wood, hair, paint. There is no object that would be like that wouldn't be affected. But what most people
you did it with wood and hair too?
Yeah.
So you can make wood and hair levitate.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. But
that's big if true.
And those are insulators, right? So those are what people would think you couldn't do it with, right? But you can do it with everything. That's why I did the wood and stuff. But the problem is my Van de Graaff generator was only so strong, so I had to do like small things, right? To like say levitate you, for example, I would have to kill you like 1,000 times over. I would have to put so much charge on you that you would die. But I will say, like, even MIT just made a drone that works off of this principle. It has no propellers. It's just using electrostatics to make it float. Frankly, the Nazis used it with electrogravitic propulsion with UFOs. So anyway, yeah, that's how you could do it. It's like you have to scale it up. And the bumblebees fly this way. Bumblebees are not aerodynamic, but they have these crazy wings that create vortexes in a resonance cavity inside their body, and that creates like it matches the resonance of the EM field around it, creates like this little bubble around it, a magnetic field, and it can go through crosswinds of up to 60 miles per hour unaffected, even though it's not aerodynamic. And I would say they replicate that for all these other crafts, but everything is electric. It's the biggest secret, bro. The biggest secret is that they hid how everything works in terms of electromagnetic
I think
energy.
There's a lot of weird mysteries there with vibrations and things like that, and that's really what electricity is essentially. But
I agree with that.
So you're saying that there's electromagnetic forces coming down from the sky. They can't be blocked, not even partially, but they can be countered.
They can partially be blocked.
How much?
A Faraday cage blocks a lot of it, but it's still there. Even say it's 90%. It's like.
But then wouldn't you get 90% lighter if you were in a Faraday cage?
See, that's the misconception. All it does is.
So you can't block those ones that make you have weight.
No, it's not that. Okay. What makes you have weight is that you're more compact than the medium. Like your density is going to go down. That's all gravity means, by the way, is that something's heavy. So what the EM is doing is just creating the up and down. Like most people will ask, why down? Why doesn't it go up? Why doesn't it go to the sides? Why does everything go down? Right? Like that's what they're really asking. And I'm answering that. It's because
that's not what I'm really asking.
That is the question, though. The question is,
no, it's not.
Why do things go down?
It's not why is it that direction. The question is why does the thing move? What causes the acceleration?
It's more dense than its environment.
Why would density cause acceleration to happen? And you're saying because of electromagnetic energy from the sky.
I'm saying that just creates the up and down, and density and buoyancy sorts the rest out. And
density and buoyancies are forces of the thing that you can't invoke the thing to describe the thing. You're doing tautology.
Only if you conflate the two gravities.
You're saying apples taste like apples because that's apple flavor.
No.
Well, what causes the flavor? The appleness of the apple does. Like, no, dog.
You're conflating the two gravities. Little g is just the effect. And then there's a claim that there's a force that makes things fall down. And actually, That isn't even the claim. It's that the bending and warping of space-time creates a gravity
Yeah,
well. And
the claim is the first law. It's like the object in motion tends to stay in motion, or object at rest stays at rest, unless
that's
acted upon.
Newton's laws.
Right.
Yeah.
Unless
that's
acted
been debunked. In your model, that's been debunked. Newtonian gravity doesn't work anymore. And that goes back to MMX, and they couldn't measure the Earth going around the sun, right? So Newton said that an object will continue straight unless an outside force acts upon it, right? That's Newton's law of motion. So that means that since the Earth was curving around the sun, there must be a force acting on it, right? Curving it from a straight path. And it was the gravity from the sun is pulling the Earth around it and making it not continue in a straight path. But then they couldn't measure it. And so Einstein came in and said, actually, the Earth is going straight and there's no force acting on it and it's free falling. And so he changed everything. He said, actually, objects can go in a curved path without an outside force acting upon it. But then from our reference frame, it'll just be going straight. And that's why we couldn't measure the Earth moving through space. So, but what they teach people is mass attracts mass. And they'll teach people maybe Newton's laws of motion because it's just simple propaganda for the masses, bro. I mean, like everyone doesn't even know that that's like over 100 years disproven. I mean,
I don't think you're right to say that it's debunked. It's not debunked. It's just a new explanation for the principle, and the principle is still
well, but they make
correct.
Opposite claims. Like Newton claimed gravity was a force. Einstein says gravity is not a force. Those are opposites. So that would violate the law of non-contradiction, right? If they were both true. Newton said there has to be an ether. Einstein said there is no ether. Newton said that an object will keep going straight unless an outside force acts on it. Einstein said, no, an object can go straight and curve at the same time without a force acting on it. And that's the official model, is that the Earth is going straight and curved at the same time based on reference frame. Which is just I'm saying it's just so stupid, mind-warping nonsense. And you have to admit that flat earthers are typically way more informed on this stuff.
Yeah, I agree. But the problem is that you're informed like in an obsessive way that's like.
Yeah, but if you went out,
I'm familiar with it. I'm very familiar. I have people like you in my audience that are obsessed about Jews in the same way that you're obsessed about the Earth.
I think that's also kind of lame. But
they're annoying and wrong. But they know more than I do, and they are like they're like hyper obsessed on this thing, but they've like spun themselves into a psychosis on it. They've spun themselves
I get what you're saying.
They end up going up their own ass with it, and then it's like you lost yourself, dude. It's like
you could be informed, but your conclusions still be wrong. But I'm saying, bro, like, okay, I guess you're gonna know to say this magic answer everyone says, but we went out and looked at the Earth, and we can see mountains from like hundreds of miles away. Like we've seen mountains that should have been miles below Earth curvature.
Again, you're going to give me another big if true.
Oh, for sure. Like,
yeah,
for example,
I have a buddy who he was in a plane, and he was looking at a thing, and it shouldn't have been there, but he still saw it, and he told me.
It's called the world's longest. It actually won the record for world's longest photograph. It's the Canigou Mountains from 273 miles away. There's another one. Same guy took a picture of the Canigou Mountains in infrared, 255 miles away. I can send you all this. I'll even tell you. I like to cut to the chase. I'll tell you what they claim to explain it away. But just really conceive of a mile. You know how long a mile is, bro? Okay. Well, stack a few of those on top of each other vertically and just really wrap your mind around it. That's how much Earth curvature was supposed to be blocking the mountains, but you could see them. What they
according to and you're sure that I'm not going to look in there and see 8 meters per mile squared, right? Because that's the wrong math.
It's not, dude. 7.98 inches per mile squared is correct up to over 1,000 miles. And actually, when it becomes incorrect, it gives the globe the advantage, because the globe actually curves at a greater rate than that math. So, but you can use this real specific equation, which is 1.225 times the square root.
It's good up to 1,000 miles? That's bullshit. No, it's not.
Yeah, they're practically identical up to over 1,000 miles. And when it starts to separate, it actually gives the globe the advantage. And dude, this was funny. We've had a PhD.
No, you're wrong. I know you're wrong on that.
Dude, we had a PhD mathematician come on and debunk Professor Dave's stupid nonsense claiming that the formula is wrong. And he's a glober. He's a glober because it absolutely is the right math. That's not our math. We don't care. It's not our math. It's just
it's good up until the point of the horizon. It's good. It's just good up until as far as you can see. That's where it's good up until.
No, I'm saying the curvature rate is accurate up to 1,000 miles. But if you want to figure out where the horizon's supposed to be, that's 1.225 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. And that's based on the radius value, right, of 3,959 miles. There's no reason to lie about the math. We're just trying to test the math. And I promise you, every really informed, obsessive globe earther
so
would
you're
admit
saying
that
you saw something
right.
a couple hundred miles away, and it was supposed to be many miles below the Earth.
Yeah, like 2.5 miles. So what they say, and dude, think about seeing that in real life. That's why flat earthers exist. We went and looked in real life. We didn't just talk on the computer. We went and looked in real life, and it's not a globe. But anyway, what the official globe response is like, sure, it looks like you can see the mountains, but they're not actually there. They are 2.5 miles below the curve of the Earth.
Okay.
But the light from the mountains bent around the globe and refracted around the globe, lifting it up, making it look like the mountains are there.
And you have a problem with that?
Yeah, of course. Because first of all, if that's true, how come sometimes I don't just see mountains up in the sky? How come it just so happens to always bend just the right amount that it looks like a flat Earth, that it's right in front of me, level with me, exactly where it would be? I never seen a mountain floating up in the sky, right? So conveniently, it always just bends the perfect amount to make the Earth look flat.
Because that's the shape of the atmosphere. The atmosphere doesn't bend up; it bends around.
Well, it's gonna have to bend at different rates, right? It's gonna have to bend at different rates based on how much it needs to come up, and it's always just like it's flat. And then we use infrared. Infrared cuts down on refraction, and it cuts through most of the atmosphere, right? But infrared, you can see you can see further. You can see further in infrared. And yeah, like Jaron just did an observation. They couldn't see the mountains with their naked eye with the camera, but they pulled out infrared, boom, you could see the mountains. So all I'm saying is that's why flat earthers exist. That's just part of it. Then we did long distance laser tests over frozen lakes. They should have hit the curve. A laser, bro, should have hit the curve at a certain rate. Yet we see the laser way beyond that. What do they say again? Oh, it just magically bent the right way. So then we put all kinds of different color lasers at different distances at the same height and see them all level. And then we all see them and they're like, oh, don't worry about it. It's just an illusion, right? And then you can shoot microwaves and radio waves horizontally directly forward, and we get them way too far away. They say, oh, well, they're bouncing off of the sky somewhere to make it look like the Earth is flat. And it's like, what about the frequencies that are higher than the ionosphere? Why are we still seeing them? Oh, it's something going on in the atmosphere that's bending it around and making it go. And it's just all kinds of made up claims, right? They can't verify. So you see the real problem is there's no way for us to even falsify it. We falsified it, and then they'll just say, nuh-uh. And I've gone out. I made observations around the whole U.S., bro. And I want to say this one more thing because I'm ranting and stuff, but when I took my tour, so when the whole pandemic thing happened, I went on a tour around the U.S. because I'm like, this is pretty wild. I don't know if we're ever going to get out of this, you know? I started using prison terms and stuff. So I was like the guy that's really lame and everyone hates when they go out. I had like a microphone and I was talking in cities. We went around the whole U.S. and I'm like, this is America. Lockdown is a prison term. This is not how this works, whatever. And then I would get into flat Earth while I was at it. And what I did was I would start off by saying, all right, look, we're giving $100 to anyone that can answer 3 questions, basic questions about the Earth, basic questions. No strings attached. You don't have to pay to play. I'll usually give you an extra chance. It's just come answer the questions. And then I would ask the whole crowd the first question. So they would all know the answer to the first question, which is how many times does the Earth spin every day? Right. So the simplest question I could think of, right? The Earth spins once every day, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm like, how many times does the Earth spin every day? A lot of people wouldn't know the answer, right? And then someone would say it, and then I'd be like, yes, that's correct, 1 on the mic, right? So now everyone knows. So then they come up, and they only have to get 2 questions right, and they win $100. And I changed it to $200, and I would move it up all around the United States, year and a half. One person won the money, and I did it to hundreds and hundreds of people. And one of the questions is like, how long did it take the Earth to go around the sun? And the answer is a year. That's how they supposedly got a year, right? The Earth goes around the sun once a year. They don't know anything. How far away is the sun? They don't know how big is the Earth. They don't know how fast does the Earth spin. 99.9% of the general public doesn't know anything about this, right? About the globe Earth and what they think is true. Nothing. But if you
Right.
say you're a flat earther, all of them are now just have full permission to act like you're really stupid, and they make fun of you. And it's like, you can't even tie your shoes in this conversation. Like, so that's pretty crazy that we live in a world like that. Like, we should encourage open discussion and learning things and testing things and not just trusting the government. So anyway, that's like a bit of a rant.
That's why I'm on the other side of the coin. Like, for the same reason, that's why you shouldn't be going out and saying things that are wrong. If they're wrong, going out and saying it like it's true is really fucked up, because people are stupid. Like you found out, they don't know what's going on. They're not thinking. They can't think. They don't have time for it. They're taking it for granted. They're operating. We're running a program here. And if you go out and say a bunch of stuff, especially if you say it in a way with such, like, I got all these stories and all these people are lying to you and this is all made up and they pulled it out of their ass and they just guessed at this and they're intentionally trying to trick you and it's all made in a lab and it's all forced. Would you sow that into the minds of people who are just like, doy, now you've just, like, you fucked with my mom's head, dude. Okay, now my mom doesn't know what world she's in anymore.
Well, she didn't know anyway. She just believed what authority told her, bro. And
yeah, but when she looked up at the moon, she saw the moon. Now she sees, like, fucking cheese plasma, and she listens to what she said, and now she's fighting with her friends online, and her friends are freaked out by her. And my mom is feeling anxiety, and she's losing friendships. And fuck you. You know what I mean? Okay. Like, you're doing that to my mom and 1,000 guys, boomer moms.
Okay, you could say the same thing about being an anti-vaxxer. Like I don't care. Like, I'm speaking truth, right? Everything I've said in the stream is a fact that can be verified. Now, whether or not you agree with my conclusions, where I say it's been disproven,
a lot of the anti-vaxxer stuff is like, a lot of it is like hysteria and it's like spooky, and a lot of people are profiting off of it. And so not all of it's good. Not all of it's good.
Yeah. All right, like, they're all bad, but it doesn't matter. You have to research it or don't research it. But, like,
no, I'm just saying that
people get over the top and they get real scared of things and they live in paranoia. I agree.
Right.
People do the same thing in the normie world, though, right? Like the news is just constantly pushing fear, and they're shoving this word in our throat and these crazy graphic images and, like, be scared of this and this. The air that keeps you alive is going to kill you, and fear is lame and sucks. And I'm not going to, like, tailor my pursuit of truth or speaking about subjects that are uncomfortable because someone is uncomfortable. I don't care. Like, the fact that everyone ostracizes you doesn't matter.
But it's the kooks that make the anti-vax stuff that's important harder to talk about. The kooky ones that, like, they go out and say it's just like, it's going to kill us all and we're all going to die. And then we didn't. And now it's like, fuck. But they didn't say, like, look at these companies, they're profiting off of it. This Wuhan thing, like, just like, there's a way, you know, but then there's people who are, like, really good at talking about it. They can get on the show, and, like, if they go too far with it, it diminishes it. It ruins it. And so if you want to say, like, okay, maybe the moon landing might have been fake. That might have been propaganda because we were in a space race with the Russians or something and we're trying to win. Or maybe there's some of these videos seem suspect because maybe they're milking money out of the government by doing ISS videos, and they can do it in a studio for $10,000, where a space mission actually costs millions of dollars. So they're actually just stealing our tax money. There might be something like that actually going on, but then there's something way beyond that that's like, they lied to us about everything, and satellites are actually balloons, and there's, like, superfluid stuff, and gravity isn't. I don't know. To me, it's like,
are you saying that it's better that everyone thinks they know answers to things that they really don't, so that they can be more comfortable? Because let's use gravity, for example. The official mainstream science says we have no idea what gravity is, and that the theory of relativity is the current theory, but we know it doesn't work. Best case scenario, it has to be updated, potentially completely replaced. It doesn't work. That's the official story. And relativity claims that gravity is the effect of the bending and warping of space and time, and that space slows down, and that space shortens and time slows down, and it's much more complex than that. They don't tell people that. They tell people gravity is the force that pulls you to the earth. Mass attracts mass, maybe you'll hear that, but that isn't true. that doesn't work. It's been disproven. It doesn't work. Mass doesn't attract mass. Gravity isn't a force anymore. It can't be in the globe model. So
those big old plates that they put together, they don't pull towards each other. That was fake.
That's the whole thing. Like the Cavendish and the really balls. The plates are typically for the Casimir effect, which is electric, and it's pretty crazy. It's like a vacuum energy pops in a vacuum, makes the plates move. The balls are called Cavendish, and they rarely work, and the amount changes a lot. But also, you can't really get rid of the electrostatic variable there, and which is like admitted, right? Like again, even in a Faraday cage, all that. So the point is like everything's electric, but in the globe heliocentric world, electrostatics wouldn't work. You would need something else. So because it wouldn't be able to make these giant planets move around each other in a vacuum in their model, the way that they have it set up. So they don't say that it's all electrostatic, right? They had to come up with something else. And they're like, I promise it's there. But anyway, my meta point there was like, I disagree that it's better that everyone thinks they know where gravity is and they're repeating like this stupid elementary propaganda when that's not really what it is. I get that flat earth can be like really nerdy. And it's like, especially when I'm not even getting into all the technical stuff, right? Because it's like, it can be a bit much. I get it. And then people think that I'm like trying to deceive them by overloading them and trying to sound smart. But that's not what's happening.
I think you are.
But you're wrong. I've just done tons of research. Okay. Like
I think you're deceiving yourself. I think you're fucking lying to yourself.
But why? I went out
because you're fucking nuts and probably evil. Like, I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, for real. Like, you believe in Jesus and God, right?
I believe that Jesus existed, and I believe in God. Yeah.
You believe in a young Earth and not evolution.
I don't believe in evolution.
Mm-hmm. And you believe in a young Earth.
There's no actual evidence.
Like we were breathed into the dirt, like in the Bible. And Moses, you believe in Moses?
I think Moses existed. Yeah, as a historical character. You don't think there's a God?
Not the God, not the Jew God, not the Bible God.
Well, I think like dogmatic organized religion is one thing, right? And then like, is there a God is a different thing.
Yeah,
I'm not really big on like dogma and organized.
But like
religion.
A Moses, Abraham, Jesus God, angels,
Jesus
demons, Adam and Eve. You know.
I think the scriptures have a lot of truth to them. Yes, and I know that we'll disagree on that. I don't fit within mainstream labels of religion or whatever. I 100% agree with everyone that's like the Abraham religions are being used to ruin the world. They're starting wars. They're going to create a World War III. Writings on the wall. People act like psychopaths because they believe in this book and they just literally will do anything. Like they'll just start killing people and say, oh, but God told me so, right? I get it. I agree with all that. Religion sucks. Yeah. At the same time, I think it's about like a personal relationship with the creator. And I don't, just because religion sucks, I don't think that means that there's no truth in the scriptures. So it's just an unfortunate barrier, right? Everything good gets tainted by crazy people that try to control us.
Yeah, I think there's good things in the mousetrap, dude. The mouse wants. You know what I mean? Like the cheese is good.
Yeah, I get it.
If the cheese, if he can get his hands on the cheese, that's great. But it's in the trap.
Yeah, I think it's much more important that people accept that this place was designed. And you can prove it scientifically, right? Like or it's really logically, because you can't prove God scientifically, obviously. Like you can't like go grab him and put him in an experiment, but but like this first and second law of thermodynamics proves that some supernatural force outside the universe had to create the matter and energy that was here. Otherwise, you'd violate the natural law. But anyway, I guess what I'm saying is
that's how I see it, though, man. But when you tell me it's all designed and it's cool. But then and the only reason it seems so what you need me to change in my mind is that what makes sense to me, and it does, dude, it makes sense. So if you're telling me it was like a Jew magic lie where they told me that forces are bending some invisible thing and that causes the spheres to swing around the spheres. That's what the solar system is.
Yes.
It's a bunch of spheres going around spheres. And the sun is a big old sphere.
And space and time are like physical things that bend and warp and trick you into thinking the Earth's not moving and stuff.
I'm not tricked into the Earth not moving. No, the Earth's moving.
But you don't experience that, right? And
except well, the way I experience it is the sky moving.
Okay, so don't you think maybe the sky could just be moving?
That sounds retarded.
So we see the sky moving.
Yeah.
And I say, I think the sky's moving.
Right.
And then
That's
you're
like a
gonna
man
say,
on a train
no,
looks out the
that's
window.
retarded.
Man on the train looks out the window and he sees things going by. And he thinks, oh, things must be going by. I'm sitting still. Things are going by. He's wrong. He knows, obviously, no, I'm moving. Those things are sitting still. I'm the one on the train. Those things going by are sitting there. I'm going by them.
Okay.
So when I look at the sky, it's the same thing. That's my window out the train. My train is moving. I'm on a rotating sphere, and the stars are going by because I'm moving, dog. We experience that all the time.
I'm not gonna like slice you up, right? I'm not gonna be like, okay, well, you're affirming the consequent and then reification fallacy. You're using a bunch of fallacies, but it's all good, you know.
Your only way out of it, you just admitted your only way out of it is to do a fucking word salad, like incel word garbage.
Bro,
like
bro,
you
word
could
salad,
just like you could try to
Dude,
like
word
wordsmith
salad.
your way out of it.
You gotta stop saying word salad, man.
Dude,
word
if you're gonna throw
means,
a bunch of fallacies at me right now and try to like debate bro me out of like when
I'm
a guy
not,
on a train is moving, the tree is sitting still. When the tree moves in his window, he doesn't think that the tree moved.
Someone said it's slicing time. I was trying to say I'm not going to slice you up, meaning that like I could get like real specific and point out that every line of logic you're proposing is fallacious.
Right. And that would be stupid of you to do because I would laugh at you.
What I'm saying is your proof was just to say the Earth is a sphere that's spinning, and that's what's in question. You're just begging the question. But yes, you're right.
No,
we talked about that at the beginning, right? That the guy can be moving on the train, see the stuff moving.
Yeah.
It could be equally valid either way.
No,
right?
And then you asked me the question, and you said, "When? How do I know that we're moving?" I said, "The sky moves." The sky moves. And you said, how do I know the sky's not moving? And I said, that sounds retarded. Like if a guy looked out the window of a train and said, how do I know that tree didn't move? That would be retarded for him to think that.
What if the train was sitting still and someone drove by him and you claimed that the car that drove by him wasn't moving, but the train was moving? That also could be retarded. We see the sun move in the sky, and it gets warmer when it's closer to us overhead.
It's funny that even in your own analogy, you pointed out another moving vehicle. So he's on a vehicle that moves.
I know. I said the train's still.
But if you see a tree go by, you don't assume, well, that tree maybe is a moving tree.
Okay, but the analogy would be that the train is sitting still, and then someone drives by the train before they start going to their trip or whatever. And you could say, yeah, it looks like that car's driving by, but actually the train's moving. You just can't tell. So the default position is that the sky is moving. This is what people do a lot. They act like the other side doesn't understand it. Oh, I completely understand it, bro. I understand relative motion very well, right? I have no problem with it. Yes, in theory.
The default position is that the sky is moving, dude.
Yes, because we experience the Earth not moving, and we experience that the stars, the sun, and the moon move through the sky. Could it be an illusion?
Then by that logic,
sure.
then the default position is that the light on the moon is sunlight, because that's all the light we get during the day. All the light on me is sunlight, so the default position is that when I see light on that and a shadow on that, that's sunlight. And you're invoking a new kind of light that we don't know anything about.
Well, I don't know. I was gonna give it to you. I thought you were gonna say, okay, well, using that, then the default position is that the moon's a sphere, and I was gonna like give you that. I was gonna say, yeah, if we go with Occam's razor, the moon.
No, because the only light that we have in nature is sunlight and firelight. Like, what other light do you got?
I already refuted. Okay, that's not viable because there are not hot spots on the moon.
That's bullshit. That's fucking bullshit, dude. You don't have an experiment where you can put a light millions of miles away and then test for a spot.
No, but you can do it to scale. So are you just saying, oh, it's different when it's further away? That's not how light works. That's not how physics works. You can do it to scale. You can do
it to scale.
You can always scale things down. So
okay, so what scale have you done it? How have you scaled the sun and the moon and tested the hot spot?
I haven't done it.
Wow, you haven't done it.
I've just seen thousands of pictures and videos of spheres reflecting light. It's pretty simple.
Have any of them been to scale of the sun and the moon?
Why would the scale change it?
Good question.
That doesn't even make sense.
Yes, it does. Because you're talking about hotspots, and it's like you're talking about something that's millions of miles away, and then you're talking about the difference between the side and the face of the Earth. It'd be a hotspot. That's like less than a fraction of a percentage difference. That would make a hotspot that you could be able to measure with your telescope and your camera or whatever.
You would just be able to see that there's a gradient of light because the moon's a sphere, and so the light is the light from the sun's hitting the apex of the sphere first, right? The part that's closest. So the rest is not going to be the same color, and you would have a hot spot. We have seen hot spots on the Earth, though, directly under the sun. We've seen hot spots on the Earth directly under the sun. And that makes a ton of sense if the sun's a local light source, right? I mean, but it doesn't make a lot of sense with what they say. So anyway, the point is that just there wouldn't be an even distribution of light. And I showed many examples of why the idea that it's a solid sphere doesn't really work out. When I say it doesn't matter, I don't care if it's a sphere, bro. I think the moon looks dope and it's kind of a sphere.
No, but I'm asking you about the light. You're skipping it. Like you're saying, I was going to give you this about a sphere.
I explained why I don't think it can be a reflection of sunlight. It's an even distribution of light.
I think that's a big if true weird argument.
Can you demonstrate it for me, bro?
But what I'm saying to you, you said that the normative, like the base assumption is that if the sky moves, then the sky's moving. That's just like the normative assumption. And I'm saying then by that logic, then if something is lit up outside, sunlight's hitting it.
What? Like, dude.
What else do you have besides sunlight in the earth? Outside?
What if I said, oh, wait,
what do you have?
Okay. What else do you have? The moon has light as well at nighttime, and sometimes it's in the daytime. Stars have light.
Right, and exactly like the
planets have lights. Planets has light.
Why do you think is lighting them up? What lights you up? What lights you up when you go outside?
What lights up the stars?
What lights you up when you go outside?
Typically the sun. Yeah.
Yeah. So those things are outside. What's lighting them up?
It's the most prominent light source.
It would be if you're going to give me that type of thing of like, well, the sky's moving. That's the base assumption is that the sky's moving. Then fine. When I'm outside, I'm light. That thing's outside, it's light. The sun's lighting it up. That's the same exact logic.
Well, you can say that. Like, I would say if you see the moon during the day, then yes, part of the light from the sun is affecting how we see the moon because it's daytime. When it's nighttime, I think the moon can be its own light. People have tried to measure the temperature of the light, and it doesn't appear to be. It appears that it's colder than when you're in a shadow of moonlight and all this stuff. And people debate it or whatever. I've seen it done many times. People just debate it, whether or not it's done properly. But what I'm saying is they measure the temperature of the light from the moon, and it's warmer in the shadow of the moonlight than the actual light, right? But it doesn't matter. The main point I'm making is that
moonlight cools you.
It's a cooler light, yeah,
cooling effect.
But of course, when you get in the shade of sunlight, it's cooler, right? So that is pretty fascinating. Like I said, people just dispute it. They typically what happens is people just try to make fun of you. They think if they make fun of you good enough, then somehow that they don't have to like rebut the point or provide evidence or whatever. And I think that's super lame, bro. I think it's so lame because these people are typically really soft and they would never do it in real life. And it's just all so weird to me. Like, just give me a video of a sphere going in front of another sphere and keeping a perfect circle shadow the whole way across. It should be really easy. It's just what the eclipse is, right? Just show it to me. No one can show it to me. Show me shining a light on a sphere where there isn't a hot spot. No one can show it to me. But I can show a hot spot. I can show the oval turn into a circle. So I can verify my claim. I can go make observations on the Earth and see things from hundreds of miles away, right? I can see that the horizon's horizontal. I can shoot radio waves straight out. I can try to measure motion of the Earth and
see
it doesn't
that the
move.
horizon's what else would it be?
Curved.
Horizontal doesn't mean flat.
It does. That's exactly what it means.
No, it's not. Why?
They'll say
why would it mean flat?
You're meaning to say level doesn't mean flat.
No,
right?
Horizontal doesn't mean flat either.
It does. That's exactly what it means.
No,
horizontal is perpendicular to vertical. It's flat.
Exactly. It's perpendicular. It doesn't mean that it's
well,
not
vertical. Okay, it does though.
No, it doesn't.
Now, it does, brother. Like it.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't mean flat. Literally, the word comes from the word circle.
Not horizon comes from horizontal.
No, you dumb idiot. Horizontal comes from horizon.
Oh, okay. So what you're saying is...
It's not the other way around. Horizon, they developed horizontal, meaning the horizon is like this to like this. But that doesn't mean that it's flat. It means it's a relation. No, it doesn't. It means it's a 90-degree right angle.
Okay, dude. Horizontal literally means a plane or flat, perpendicular to vertical. So what you're saying is that they went out and looked
It's
at
an
the
angle.
horizon.
It's a horizontal angle. It doesn't mean flat.
Bro.
It means an angle. It's an angular relation. It's not a
this is crazy.
flatness.
Yes, it is, but it's just it's a plane, it's a line. Like in reality, there's topography.
Okay.
So nothing is perfectly flat. Dude, objectively, what they claim is that it looks horizontal or flat, but it's just because the Earth is so big.
Horizontal is an angular relation to vertical, as in the horizon that I look at, which doesn't mean flat. It just means as I am to that, this thing is to this. This angle is to this as I am to that.
You're drawing a straight line. How can something be perpendicular to vertical if it's curving?
It's an angle. At the moment of intersection, it's 90 degrees. It doesn't mean that line goes on forever flat.
That's called a tangent, and that's when you draw a little straight.
Okay, so it's a 90-degree tangent. It's a horizontal intersection.
That's when you draw a little straight flat line on the circle, so that you can treat it.
Let me ask you this: if I draw a single line, did I draw a horizontal line? If I drew a straight line on a piece of paper, is it horizontal?
It depends on if you have a perpendicular reference.
Exactly. So it's in relation to something else. It has nothing to do with straightness. It has to do with relationship to a 90-degree angle.
Dude, both vertical and horizontal lines are straight, right? It's just a fact.
All lines are straight, but it's but it's horizontal in angular relation to that other line.
Dude, you get the point is that the horizon is horizontal? The fact that the words
meaning that the horizon is 90 degrees particular in relation to me standing up.
Yeah.
In relation to me.
Which
doesn't mean that it's flat.
If you're standing up vertical,
the horizon is not a line.
Dude, bro.
The horizon is a circle.
Dude, this is getting crazy to me.
Look up the etymology of horizon. It literally comes from a Latin word that means circle.
Okay, this is wild to me, bro. And I'm just going to say and what it actually, it's coming from the idea of like a limit. So, and what I'm saying is if we get the word horizontal from the word horizon, right?
Yeah.
What does that mean? It means that they looked out at the horizon and it looks flat. And the official globe.
No, it doesn't mean that they looked out and it means flat. It means they looked out and they saw that it was 90 degrees relation to me standing.
Dude, the official globe
has nothing to do with flatness.
The official globe position is that it looks flat because the Earth is so big that you're going to have to get further away to see the actual curve because the curvature rate is so slight. It's so slow. It's going to look flat. They say the same thing for when we build things. They say, okay, well, you can treat it like the Earth is flat. We use plane surveying. That's how we build bridges. We're going to get our vertical plumb and then treat the Earth as if it's a plane that is a horizontal plane that extends all the way out. And we're just going to build it like it's flat. And then we're going to put these horizontal flat segments together. But because the Earth's so big, you just won't know. Which also doesn't work anyway, because up to 10 miles, you get 66 feet. You can't build a bridge like that. But anyway, it basically, this is a summary of it, because I do have to go, bro. It's the idea that the Earth looks flat, and it feels stationary, and it measures flat, and it measures stationary, and the sun and the moon appear to be the same size, and that the sun and the moon and the stars appear to move in the sky, and the horizon appears to be horizontal, but that's all an illusion. And actually, it's the direct opposite of all of those things.
No, you're just saying the word horizontal wrong, and then you're saying that it's an illusion.
All right, brother. We were horizontal
doing doesn't mean flat. You're saying horizontal equals flat, and it looks horizontal. Well, it is. There's a horizontal relation in those angles. That tangent is 90 degrees.
Perpendicular to vertical is horizontal, meaning it's going to be flat. A line is flat.
But it's not a line. It's a sphere.
How can you have it be perpendicular to vertical if it's not
It's a perpendicular intersection. You can draw a 90 degrees angle off of the edge of a sphere.
Yes, I explained. Yeah, you have to use a tangent. So you create a little flat straight line at that point, and then the curve's going to drop below the straight.
The concept of a flat line, exactly.
The curve is going to then drop below the horizontal. Okay, so
the horizontal line that you've drawn on a piece of paper.
Because that's the only thing that it can be. That's what horizontal means.
The horizontal line.
Yes.
That you've drawn. The line is a conceptual. But that doesn't mean that horizon means a straight line.
No, I was just pointing out that the default position is when you go out to the ocean, bro, you see a flat horizon. That's just a fact. The globe model claims, yeah, but it's so big. I get it. That could be true. That could be true. And then when the Earth is moving, you just can't feel it because it's so big. Okay, it could be true. I have no problem with the idea. The point is that our default position is that the Earth is not moving and that it's flat, and it measures flat, and we fly planes like it's flat and stationary. I have former Air Force pilots reaching out to me.
No, we
telling
don't.
Me,
the planes have auto-calibrating gyroscopes because the Earth has a curve. And if they didn't have the auto-calibration built into the gyroscopes, they would go off after a certain amount of flying.
They don't automatically calibrate to a curvature rate. We've actually pulled the data, and they automatically
calibrate based on gravity.
Okay, gravity isn't a problem, the fact that things go down, but actually I talked to an Air Force pilot about that very thing. He pulled the actual gyroscopes from him and his buddy's plane and showed that it didn't match the curvature rate of the Earth at all. And then he said he started thinking, and the crazy maneuvers he makes in his plane, because he's like a fighter jet pilot, right? He's like, the crazy maneuvers that we make for the gyroscope to be adjusting to all that and then simultaneously be adjusting to the curvature and rotation of the Earth would be insane. He said there's no way that it's doing that. It can barely keep up with all the maneuvers that we make. It's not in addition to that being like, oh, well, you just did a 180 spin and then went backwards and cut left, but actually the Earth is curving this direction and you went this far, so it had to adjust for this much curvature as the Earth spent southeast in relation to you going. He's like, it doesn't do that. And that's what first woke him up, and he's like, okay, this is crazy. I never thought of this, because so his captain or something told him that the Earth was flat, right? And then he started thinking about all the other technology they have and the different observations. And he said he woke up to flat Earth. He saw mountains 300 miles away that were still level with him. Should have been like 2 to 3 degrees below his level, but he could see them level with him in Afghanistan and K2, and he was overseas. But like, anyway, long story short, we live our life like the Earth is flat and stationary, other than this concept people have that it's not. So if you're going to claim it's the opposite, that's cool, but that would require everything in reality be an illusion, and it's the inverse of the truth, and you would have to prove it, and we've tried to prove it. Do you think people don't want to be a flat earther, bro? I think you think people want to be a flat earther and they think it's cool and it gives them some special. People hate being a flat earther, bro.
Do you do the same thing now? Fuck, dude. I swear,
it's a fact.
It's evil what you're doing, dude. Because you won't give credit to. I've heard you talk about the satellites and the orbit trajectories, and you want to give them an ellipse and stuff like that. They launch rockets as though there is a thing where there's a device orbiting around a planet. They launch it as though that's what they're doing, and you're no, but it would be something else.
They mapped them out on a plane. They mapped them out on a plane. Go look up satellite paths. They're going to show you some cartoon with a globe. Go look up the official data and charts. It shows a plane with ellipses over it. That's how they actually map it, because you can't have a globe map. So the way they actually map it is that there are ellipses on a plane, right? And then the globe would say, well, yeah, it's actually circles on a globe. I do got to get out of here, man. I got to get out of here.
All right.
Although I actually enjoy talking to you. I enjoy talking to you.
But the point is, you won't give the same credit. But all right, you got to go. Bye. See you later, Witsit.
But we can set up another talk, man. I would check this.
You need
I
to
would almost rather.
I'm going to go back through all those things that you said I called them all big if true. I need you to give me those. I'm going to look into them.
I'll hit you with
those are all
big
if true.
Show them on stream. But look,
I will. I'll do it. I know you got a hard out on your time.
Let me ask you this one question: if the Earth truly were flat, would you want to know?
Yeah.
And if the Earth were stationary and in the center of the universe, would you want to know? Like, would you want to know?
Yeah.
If you found out for sure it was, would you be able to publicly say it and admit that you were wrong?
Yeah.
It'd be rough at first, but
yeah.
You could
same applies to you. Sure.
I actually believe you.
Same applies to you.
Yeah, but I don't.
But I don't. But I don't believe you.
I don't believe you. What?
I don't believe you.
Dude, are you kidding me?
No,
I would.
I think you're fucking phony, dude. I don't believe
all right,
you.
brother.
I think you know what? I think you want it to be flat. I think you're really excited, and all your friends really want it to be flat because you're so special. You're fucking special if it's flat.
I'm not. I'm ridiculed by everybody.
Yeah, but not by your super friend group that I heard you in the Twitter space call, and they're all like patting you on your back and powdering your ass and telling you did great in the debate. They love you, and you've got like a clique of people who love you, and you're the Witsit, and like that's your thing.
What about all the people that hit me up and say that they love the debates I do on other subjects, and they think I'm one of the best debaters they've ever seen? They just wish I wouldn't talk about flat Earth. So I could be way more successful.
But this one's way more special. This one's like way more important.
No, I could be way more successful if I didn't talk about flat Earth. I can articulate myself. I could talk about all kinds of different
Yeah,
things.
but maybe.
No, that's a fact.
Another
That's
big-
a fact.
another
I
big
can
if
talk
true.
about all kinds of things.
Another big
and-
if true.
Well, well,
Maybe you
I
would.
think we can both.
Maybe you'd be
admit that I can
nobody.
understand
Maybe if you
information.
didn't talk about flat Earth, you'd be nobody. Nobody would know about you.
Okay, brother. Well,
You'd just be another guy.
yeah, maybe so. Maybe so. What I was gonna say is, I'll send you all that stuff, and I'm happy to talk to you. Maybe you can come on my show too. I mean, we didn't like say anything that can't be on my other channels, but
All right.
and I can introduce introduce you to my people as well. You could even run at the same time. I don't know, but what I was gonna say is there are other things I think would be interesting to talk to you about as well.
Me too. Hey, and don't take it personally. I hope you don't. I do think that you're full of shit, but don't take it personally. I bet that's just what I think. But I think most people are full of shit. I'm really against like religions. I don't like Catholicism. I don't like Judaism. I don't like Islam. I don't like flat Earth. There's a lot of stuff going on that I just don't like. It's not personal to you. But I think that it's very, very human and normal to be totally full of shit and self-deluded. So I think you're just I think that's normal. I think it's an ego trip that happens to people when they think they find out a certain special thing. They want to be the guy who talks about it, especially once they get on a roll, especially once their ego gets involved, especially if they have a particular knack for it and they find an audience. It just happens a lot. Like people do this kind of thing and they end up in a certain camp and they're singing a certain song and that becomes their deal and it becomes their greatest hits. And then the audience wants more and it's like, whoa. And then it just becomes they're high on their own supply and they're convinced of their own correctness. And I think it just happens to people all the time.
But actually, what happens is the other side never goes and informs themselves on all the things. So then it's like, well, who's going to rebut us? Who's going to prove us wrong? Who's going to give us evidence?
Yep.
Like I've told people.
Look, if the whole audience was really good at understanding magic tricks, magicians would be out of work.
No, here's what I'm saying.
Like requires the audience to be ignorant.
Look, I say Stephen Hawking admits the Earth could be in the center and it matches all observations, and even better. People think that's crazy. I'm like, go read Stephen Hawking. They'll never go read him. I'm like, okay, go. Now the people that do, they end up being geocentrists.
Do you think Stephen Hawking was a real astrophysicist or was he a puppet?
That's debated. Who knows?
Okay.
Because I will say this: have you ever seen
Einstein
the video,
was a puppet? Stephen Hawking's maybe.
No, wait. This is funny. We can end on this. Have you ever seen the video Stephen Hawking wrote where they're like sitting in a room, and he just like, yeah, and then the dude just like lists off this poetic paragraph.
Like incredible. Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm like, okay, come on. I think Helen Keller was a puppet. I think Stephen Hawking was a puppet. I think Einstein was probably a puppet. I think it's all bullshit. So citing them is like, well, he said this. It's like, well, he said all sorts of.
Well, I just mean like that's the top tier, and I mean I bring them up to point out like that's the official claim. But all right, brother, I appreciate talking to you, man. Or
go handle your business. See you later.
Yeah,
it's nice talking to you, you son of a bitch. Bye. See ya.
All right, later.
All right. BT was emotional. Yeah, I'm trying to make entertainment here. Like, look, I had a guest the other day, and they said I didn't go hard enough on him. They said it was boring. So I was just like, all right, let's see if I can. I'm trying to make it more fun. I thought, all right, let's go unleashed. Because what I could have done also is sitting there and just have like a long thing where I just chase him down every rabbit hole he brings up. I go, oh, that's interesting. Well, what do you think about this? And I'm just like, nice guy, but I'm trying to get in a fight with him for fun. Smith is different. Well, see what I mean? Everyone was mad at Smith. Yeah, see, they were emotional at Smith, and I was too chill. See, he's chill and unemotional, so I'm trying to bring the fire. I'm trying to like get him. I was trying to get him to get me mad. No, I was trying to get him mad by being mad and being antagonistic.